My house is a magic power spot. Just by living there I become the strongest in the world. Chapter 76. The Star Dragon awoke. Hesti's ears heard a high-pitched voice. Yo, it's been quite a long time. The one under my stomach is my childhood friend, Hesti, right? Enough with the greetings. Wake up and move your body right now. Hesti was screaming her lungs out, but there is no reaction from the dragon's body at all. I can't. My body won't listen to what I want it to do. Why? I think the other day, when I went into this empty dungeon, a weird slime creature coiled itself around me and has had this strange influence over me. I can't really use my magical powers. If I could move, I'd just transform into my human form before falling. Did you get some type of disease or something? Is that the reason she fell? She understood the reason now, but still. Ramirazu, this situation occurred because you got so much more fatter. You're such a mean IE tilde, being mean or whatever, it was the cold hard truth. Flying at such a high altitude, living a carefree life where there wasn't much reason to move around. That's why she's become like this. She's nearly twice heavier than she was 100 years ago. Goo. Hesti was starting to yield to the weight, and both her physical strength and her magical energy was gradually being reduced. Because her arm was jammed into the scale in order to support the weight, her arms were already in a worn-out state. Hesti, I think it's better if you get away from me. Although the force of my fall has become slower, but from the way things are going, you will also. That kind of thing is something that she understood clearly. However, underneath her was a whole town, willing to pay any price. She didn't want to move until the last minute. I need to do everything in my power. Hesti concentrates the remaining magical power into her mouth, and then, ballistic white flame. If only I can weaken the impact even a little bit more. Thinking along these lines, Hesti did her best to release a breath with all her remaining strength. From the heat and the crash of the flames a white smoke appears, and, is it really? No use. Covered in the white smoke, Hesti was beginning to fall down. Although she managed to slow down the speed of Ramirazu's body, she was unable to stop it from falling down. There was still a black shadow in the sky. The white barrier holding them in place cracks and breaks. At this rate it is likely that she will smash into the town, including me. This is all my big mistake. If I paid attention, I could also tell that Diania was kneeling on her knee in the terrace. Recovery was not working anymore. In order to recover, I put out everything, but it wasn't enough. Thinking about these things, Hesti was continuing to look at the black shadow covering the sky. At this point in time, whoops, it's dangerous if you fall like that. Hesti felt the sensation of someone supporting her back, and when she turned around, there was Picture. Why are you over here? You told me that you were going to tell me once you've finished your investigations, right? But you weren't there, so I decided to come to you. It was the first man to have ever defeated me, and then saved me. Carrying Hesti in my arms, I descended towards the ground. Because I was wearing my wood armor with Skanda mode activated, the impact of the landing was firmly nullified. I was just in front of my own shop, so I sat her down in the chair near the counter. I have quite a few things I want to talk to you about, but, well, you've done well. Just sit over here and have a rest. After saying that, I enter the shop. Wait, it's still up there. Yeah, if that big one is still up there we can't talk properly, can we? That's why I will stop it right now, Tsu. I took out 10 boxes from inside of my shop and Hesti was still trying to catch her breath. These were the apples before being processed. I started throwing a bunch of them towards the ground around the shop. Can we manage with this, Sakura? I think so. The ground around here has a reasonable amount of magic, so if Master uses his magic, it should be more than enough to grow them. Is that so? Well, although this isn't really what it's supposed to be used for, but I can always bring more of these apples here, so let's just use them up. Saying this, I cancelled my Skanda mode, and I rearranged the composition of my wood armor to the constitution of a tree. Madavajra activate. That's the ability you used to defeat me at that time. I know that it's strong, but I don't think it will be enough with just that. Don't panic, that's not all I've got up my sleeve. This was merely the beginning preparations. I turned my attention towards the seeds which had been planted in the area surround my shop. This is going to be the first time I'm going to do this outside of my house, so, Sakura, I'm going to rely on your support. If it's still not enough, let's also use the golems which are in this shop. Yes, but in saying that, with Master's power, I think that it will be more than enough. Ooh, then let's do this, shall we? I started imagining the trees and shrubberies which were growing back at home. After coming into this world, it was the first thing I used my magical power on. Back then, if I didn't have the support of Sakura at home, I would not have been able to imagine it, but right now I have changed. I've already done this so many times that I've become accustomed to it. Therefore, I used my magical power, absorb all of the magical energy and grow up into a gigantic tree. In that moment, the seeds which surrounded my shop had absorbed my magical energy and simultaneously they started to bud. 1,000 roots of the apple trees started to intertwine and overlap with each other as it stood upwards, become buried and deep-rooted. Repeat this process and lengthen. The root of the tree was becoming as thick as its own trunk, and it slipped into the underground area below the shop which had been dug out. The height of the tree, which had a very solid foundation, exceeded the height of many houses. It exceeded the height of castles. It was approaching the skies. The trees were twisting against each other, compressing and becoming very compact. This is my shop. Accordingly, any fellow who wants to shut down my peace and enjoyment will be stopped with my power. After a few seconds, a long and large tree sprouted up from the center of the town, and at the top of the tree something extremely thick and luscious was growing. The leaves were expanding outwards like some sort of umbrella. It's heavier than I expected, but, thanks to both Hestia and Diana's efforts, the force has weakened considerably and it's manageable. The Star Dragon King's body was able to be firmly held in place. The branches and the tree was creaking, but it wasn't breaking or bending. Amazing. This isn't where the Dragon Vein is location, but you are still able to do this. It's cause I've become used to it. Even if I am not at my home, I have become able to do something like this. In reality, I was only making a tree grow. It was a basic technique. It wasn't really anything difficult. Well, still, if I did this at my house, it would be much easier and I wouldn't get tired. But it is what it is. Right now this is fine. After all, I've managed to completely stop the fall. For the time being, we can now start our conversation, right? In this manner the fall of the Star Dragon King was stopped. My house is a magic power spot. Just by living there I become the strongest in the world. Chapter 77. Hestia, who was worn out, was sitting on the chair of the shop and was stunned. Oya, are you alright, Hestia? Ha. Yes, I'm fine then. Let's talk, shall we? Hestia, yesterday, why did you leave without waking me up? If she didn't leave so abruptly, I could have come to help her before she became this tattered. I was interested in why she didn't say anything. This is just for my curiosity. I'm not angry or anything. I only want to know the reason, that's all. After waiting for several seconds, Hestia started to speak. Waking you up while you were asleep felt troublesome and I thought it wasn't something I should do. Ah, I see. Hearing those words, I understood it. I guess so. This Hestia was willing to sacrifice herself for the dragons. She's the type of person who would be considerate of others. However, she was a little mistaken about something. Therefore, I will correct it. Well, the thing is, if you have a good reason, it's alright to wake me up, you know, especially because this time I was the one who requested it. And then, if I was unreasonably woken up, or if someone continuously pestered me waking me up, it's natural for anyone to feel bad, or more like, if someone was drunk when they got woken up they would probably feel ill. But even if she did wake me up, I wouldn't particular get angry or anything. Therefore, well, how do I say this? I've told you a long time ago, but you don't have to act so tense around me. You can relax and speak your mind, you know. Yes, Hestia made a small nod. She grasps things quite quickly. I don't think this kind of incident will occur again. Alright, then that's the end of the conversation. Before doing something for this shop We probably need to do something about that Star Dragon King up there. The moment I looked up towards the sky, was it you after all, Daiki Dano? Diania teleported in front of my shop. Ooh, Diania, how should I say this? I feel bad for destroying the nice scenery in this town. No, that's alright. Rather, I want to thank you for saving the town. Really, thank you so much, Daiki Dano. Diania greatly lowers her head. Don't worry about it. The only thing I did was protect my own shop. Is that so? If you put it like that, I'm very grateful. And then Diania looks up into the sky. It was a really huge amount of power. If Daiki Dano did not grow the tree, the central part of the town would have been annihilated. No, even now, isn't it in ruins because of the roots of the tree? Because I made it grow so forcefully. The pavement was dug up by the roots. And no, it was a necessary sacrifice. Well, I will need to discuss with the people in the castle as to what we will do about this tree, but you don't have to worry about this. After lowering this dragon, I will shorten this tree so this tree can shrink incipiently. I don't think I've ever shown the growing of my trees to Diania before. I can't return it to being an apple again, but it is possible for me to compress the tree. Well, I can still use it as a defense mechanism for the shop, so I think I'll make it into the size of a large tree. The shop will probably be covered and wrapped around in this tree, but that will also have a charm of its own, right? Because it's such an unexpected thing. Please let me calm down for a minute. That method of using magic is normally impossible to achieve. When I talked to Diania about fixing up my shop, she was holding her chest and trying to take in deep breaths. I don't think it was something to be that surprised about when I was thinking such things. Thank you. Not only am I alive, but I've managed to see the legendary Spirit Lord. I am in luck. An elderly person with a well-dressed attire was giving their respects to me. The only thing in front of their eyes right now was my grown-up tree and me. Why are you worshipping me? Back in the olden days, this town had a saying: when the town has a crisis, the spirits will protect us in the form of a huge tree. The Drisel World Tree would come out and defend us. There was this kind of legend. The legend of the World Tree? Well, I suppose that's good. The situation this time around suited this town, I suppose. It's almost like a nursery tale, but I never would have expected for it to become true. Well, I also don't think that I made it happen, but well, at least everything ended safely. Okay, well, first off, let's carry that huge dragon and place her in a wide spacious area. Then we can talk more afterwards. That will be good. But how are you planning on carrying her down? Considering her weight, I don't think it will be possible to use teleport either. No? Well, I can just use this body of mine to do it. What do you think is the reason that I'm wearing Vajra over my body? After that, I operated the shrubbery and made a path. Then, using the power given to me by my Vajra mode, I carried the Star Dragon King on my back and placed her on the prairie field. All the elderly people seeing me pass by, they thought I was some kind of reincarnation of a guardian spirit or something. To be honest, I was a little embarrassed. My house is a magic power spot. Just by living there, I become the strongest in the world. Chapter 78. With a crashing sound, I set the immobile Dragon King on ground after I'd moved to the plains. Phew, that was heavy. Good job, Master. It was so heavy that, even supported by my wood armor Vajra plus, I still got a little tired. Well, after seeing how large its body was, I had prepared myself so it wasn't a problem. As I was thinking, Hesty and the rest looked on in amazement. Why are you making a face like that? Well, you carried it well. Yeah, how should I put it? I had helped to carry that giant stone. I had called the knights to help, but it turned out to be pointless. Oh, I was wondering why there were knights following us. So Diania called them. It seems like she asked for lots of people to cooperate. I'm really sorry for not realizing it beforehand. Well, anyways, let's confirm the current situation. Even if she struggles here, there won't be any problems. Diania. Why, yeah, this location is fine even if there's a ruckus. The evacuation is also complete. Got it. Well then, Hesty, I understand that this one's sick, but can't she turn into human form? She takes up way too much space like this. At the very least it'd be easier to talk to her if she was in human form. I spoke to her a bit. It seems like she got a slime stuck to her, so until it's taken off, she can't. Slime, huh? I'd heard a bit of the situation on the way over, but thanks to her scales being packed too closely together, the slime was able to hide on her and stick on. Ramiro's is the hardest Dragon King, but her scales are just very hard. Underneath there is only skin. What's more, she's very carefree, so she might not have noticed until the parasite started affecting her body. The scales of Ramiro's the Dragon King have fallen off here and there. I could see that at the location where they had fallen off, there was jelly-like fluids. So this is the cause? I don't know. So, we should ask the one in question. It looks like she can speak a bit. It's not just a bit. I can talk. Tilda. In response to Hesty's words, Ramiro started talking in dragon speech. Ramiro's, huh? Can you speak? Nice to meet you. I am Ramiro's Asteria. You can call me Rami or Ramu. Human sand that saved me. I am Deiki. But I don't really think I saved you. I just sort of caught you. Even so, I have taken it as being helped. Thank you. She was speaking in a friendly manner and I didn't feel any enmity. It seems like this Dragon King didn't have any malicious intent when she fell. I thought as I was about to continue the conversation, Diania poked me in the side timidly. You Deiki Dano? You're letting out groaning and roaring sounds, so I think you're conversing. But we can't understand. Could you please ask her to speak in the human language? Oh, I see. That's right. I just got swept up and started talking in dragon speech. It must have been difficult to understand. For him to be able to speak in the dragon tongue. How monstrous is this earth-vain man? From behind me I heard the whispers of the knights, but I don't feel like kicking up a fuss, so I'll ignore them. Can you speak in the human language? It's a bit difficult, but I can a bit, I guess. That's more than enough. We've introduced ourselves, so tell us why you got caught up with slimes and fell from the sky. About a year ago I flew into a sky dungeon, so I think it stuck to me around then. I was feeling overheated, so when I felt a cool slimy sensation I just thought it felt good. But I never thought that it was a slime that had attached itself to me. Ramiro's gave an embarrassed sounding so she was enjoying a 1-year-long slimy play? How lazy is the Dragon King really? It got into a place that I couldn't reach with my hands, so I thought can't be helped and just left it. But before I realized it I couldn't feel my body. I couldn't move of my own will. Actually it took all I had to stop my body from doing things I didn't want it to. Then Ramiro's tail hit the ground twice. When I looked I saw some knights who had been approaching were blown away. That wasn't by your own will? Yeah. When things approach the slime on my body they seem to take control of my body to drive things away. I forcibly stop it, but it's hard. I looked closer at Ramiro's neck and saw a purple-colored slime attached to it. It almost looked like a collar. Oh, so it's this. Can I tear it off forcibly? I asked Hesty and she tilted her head sideways. I wonder, if you touch it there is the possibility of being absorbed. Also, the slime's core is inside its body, but deep within, so it might be a bit dangerous I think, so I can't do it by force. This seems pretty troublesome, or so I thought when, Fumu, then if I teleport the slime away this'll be solved, Diania said as she approached. At that moment, boom, the slime shot out a sharp needle-like tendril. Hiya. Oi. That's dangerous. Go tree. I grew a wooden shield out of Vajra's arm and placed it in front of Diania, who had stumbled to the ground. The tendril made a dent in it, so it was quite powerful. Thank you Deiki Dano. Don't approach carelessly. I'd rather you not make things more complicated. But now I'm sure that the slime has its own will. It was obvious. If not, then it wouldn't act as a parasite or go wild when people approach. I see. If this slime has its own will, then I've got an idea. I grasped Diania's hand. Deiki Dano, I'm happy that you're being more assertive, but I've lost power in my legs, so I can't stand. You don't have to stand, but could you teleport me back home for a bit? I have something I want to get. Then a minute later I'd grabbed what I needed and was standing in front of Ramiro's once again. What's on your back? Well, this is something. I guess I'd call it a healing item. Healing? Wait, is that the onsen, right? Indeed. Just as Hesty said, I had 2 wooden tubes filled with onsen water. They were both filled with the liquid near the source. I placed them inside of the firing mechanism in the wood armor's arm and pointed it at Ramiro's. Normally I'd fire bullets out, but this was different. Well then, let's start the giant dragon car. Washington, water bullet fire. Splash! With a vigorous booming, the onsen water was blasted out. It was like a squirt gun, but abnormally strong. It needed to be at a level which could tear the slime off of the dragon's scales. The slime was scared by the impact and jumped up and started trying to run and dodge. Oh, it's coming off. It's coming off. As I thought this onsen water works on slimes. It's not being torn off. It's being cut, you know. It seems like the firing strength was a bit too much. It was supposed to shave it off. Instead it's cutting it. Well anyways, it's all the same whether it gets shaved off or cut off. With that kind of thought I continued to wash the dragon for about 10 seconds. This should be all of it. The giant slime was lying unmoving next to Ramiro's body. Alright, now all that's left is the brute force approach, right Hesty? I guess. If you can pierce through the slime's core, that'll be the end. Then this is the end. I didn't even wait a second before using my fist to punch straight through the slime's core. My house is a magic power spot. Just by living there I become the strongest in the world. Chapter 79. I had removed Vedra and was looking at the Dragon King that was lying in the field. Is it really alright now? I wonder if I can transform, Ramiro said, sounding anxious. Then she was covered in white smoke. Then, Fuwa. Thank goodness, I'm saved. A human form was revealed soaked in onsen water. Picture. It was a woman with light brown hair and a voluptuous body. Finally I'm small again. Sorry Daiki-san, Hesty, and you humans. Small. Well. I suppose she is small in comparison to a dragon's size, but how should I put it? Her chest and butt were large. Anne was the same. I thought that maybe Dragon Kings have naturally good style, shape, but then I looked at Hesty. What's wrong? Why are you looking at me? This Ramiro's is your childhood friend, right? Yeah, I see. So, then it isn't due to age that their bodies developed like this. As I was comparing their bodies, Hesty started being a bit sullen. I can feel your gaze, looking everywhere, so I'll tell you this. I am just very good at compressing my body size. These guys are bad at it, that's all. Their physique is the natural result of that, Hesty said and turned away in a huff. It might bother her, but I've got my doubts, so it can't be helped. Well, later I can give her some nice swan materials to improve her mood. So, Ramiro's, can you move your body alright? Yep. Thanks to you, I can move all over. Ramiro's happily moved her hands and feet around. She appeared almost like a large dog wagging her tail. From her I could sense something kind of animalistic. As I was thinking, Ramiro's looked at my face and bowed. Once again, thank you. I've caused you a lot of trouble. I'd like to do something to thank you. I don't know what to do. What should I do to thank humans? I don't really need anything though. I still had apples, trees, and shrubs in stock, and I hadn't received any wounds and nothing of mine was damaged. So I turned to look at the still-seated Diania beside me. Diania, is there anything you need? Me? That's right. I'd like reparation money for the work we had to do and people we needed to hire. Also the cash reward for Daiki Dono needs to be paid. You've already given me more than enough cash. I don't need any more. Well, for now I'll ignore it because the festival needs restoring. Ramiro's, do you have any money? I don't have any money, but can you sell my scales? She said and pointed at the light brown scales scattered around the plains. Why, you are giving us Dragon King scales? I haven't been down on the ground for about 100 years, so I don't know much. I don't know how much these are worth. How about it? At any rate, the scales have already been removed from my body, so I'd like to use them as compensation. It's more than compensation. In fact, we'd make a large profit. One scale is about ... and then you carry the one. Diania was flustered as she started to calculate the trade. Fumu, it seems like the compensation amount won't be a problem. Well then, Diania, I'll leave the disposal of the scales to you. I'm going home. That's alright, but are you alright without receiving anything, Daiki Dano? Alright or not? There's nothing I want to take. Wait, that's right. Ramiro's, I have something I want to make out of your scales, so could you come over to my home? Something you want to make with my scales? Yeah, I want to make a bath out of it. It's your own scales, so you know their characteristics, right? I need to process them, so help me out with your knowledge. Okay, I understand. If there's anything I can do to help, I will. Alright, with this my onsen will be one step closer to completion. It seems I'll be able to complete my goal of having my onsen finished before the festival starts properly. Well then, Diania, we'll be returning to my house for some stuff. Oh okay, I understand. We'll return and set the town to rights. When the festival is ready to start up, I'll notify you. And so, I returned to my home with the two Dragon Kings before the festival. My house is a magic power spot. Just by living there I become the strongest in the world. Chapter 80. The two Dragon Kings and I stood in the backyard of my home. Sakura had returned to the house before me and she seems to be preparing lunch. I'd like to be able to finish my preparations so that I could complete the onsen, so I'd like to hurry and hear about the pertinent information. Here I have 2 of your scales. I'd like to use them for this. I slapped the side of the scales that Ramiro's had dropped and she looked apologetic. They fell here too? I'm sorry Daiki-san. It's already over and done with, so don't mind it too much. So, I'd like to bend and break these scales to make my bath. Are there any important things I need to be aware of? I asked, and Ramiro's made a puzzled face and tilted her head to one side. Important? Nothing much. My scales are hard. That's their only attribute. They don't have anything else special about them. Wait, that hardness is the problem. Ramiro's, you speak too vaguely. After hearing the casual reply from Ramiro's, Hesty supplemented it, all flustered. Ramiro's. The Star Dragon King scales are the hardest. They are one of the hardest to process. If you're not careful when trying to break them, you could be injured or waste time. I see, they're that hard, huh? That's right. Diania said something to that effect as well. Something like, they needed many mages working together to break it. Wow, amazing. As expected of Hesty, knowing that about me when I didn't even know. I never made anything using my scales, so I had no idea. Well, it's like this. She's an easygoing person, and doesn't have a lot of knowledge, so if you need to ask me. Hesty looked a little fed up with Ramiro's, who was still clapping her hands. How should I put it? These guys have an interesting affinity. Well then, if you've got a way to break them, I'd like to know. How do you do it? The trick is to use your power in a certain direction and pattern. If you do it correctly, then it'll be a bit easier. I looked closely at the scale and saw what appeared to be the grain of the scale. I see, so this is what she meant by pattern. But even then, it's hard to break. Normally you'll need to put your magic in and persevere. If there's not enough power in it, then you can damage the scale's hardness. Fumu, then maybe using Vajra's arm. I only equipped Vajra's arm. Then I grabbed the scale and did as I was told. I used my strength with the grain of the scale and, ding, with a sound akin to metal snapping, the scale cracked a little. Oh, it broke, but it really is hard. It appears I'll have to use more power than I've ever used to manufacture a material. It'll take a bit of time to get the hang of it, I thought, but when I looked at Hesty, her eyes were staring intensely as she quietly muttered, ... Sorry, let me revise my previous statement. Breaking it is difficult. Usually it takes years of work before the scale is ready for tempering. Or so it should have been. It seems like Hesty is holding her head and worrying about something. I wonder if she's okay. Well, anyways, it's good it broke. This scale really is hard. Ramiro's scales are top-class defensive items. They're hard, strong, and don't degrade much over time. That's why, when they appear on the market, they sell for a high price. If you praise me like that, it's a bit embarrassing. Leaving aside the person herself, the materials are top class. Whenever Hesty gets entangled with other Dragon Kings, her expressions seem to become more abundant. I thought as I turned to touch the top-class material. It wasn't just hard. Its cross-section appearance was beautiful and it felt smooth. When I tried to bend it horizontally, it did so beautifully. It was hard, but it was also flexible. It seemed very useful, a very good material. This flexibility is very hard to utilize. You need a lot of power. But it seems you're able to draw out the characteristics of Dragon King materials. Hesty seemed to be looking at me with worn-out eyes. It took me a while to realize, but she had been trying to catch Ramiro's before with all her might. Hesty, if you're tired then go rest, okay? Right now, I'm just tired of reacting, so don't worry. I see. Then if Hesty says so, I won't worry and get back to work. I broke Ramiro's scales into pieces and made them into a rectangular tub. For now, I'd like a tub that can fit 10 people comfortably. Also, I didn't want the tub to be rough on bare skin, so I shaved down what needed to be shaved down, and bent what needed to be bent. Then, alright, with this the tub is finished. I'd made an oval-shaped tub. All that was left was to properly bring the pipe over and fill the tub with water. Then put together a small roof and changing area. Now I can go in the onsen anytime, and thus my house gained a Rotenboro made of Dragon King scales, completing my open-air bath. I look forward to going in and enjoying. My house is a magic power spot. Just by living there I become the strongest in the world. Chapter 81. After the onsen was completed, Ramiro's suddenly approached a tree in my orchard. Fumiuyu. What's wrong? I'm at my limit. Sorry. Ramiro's eyelids were fluttering open and shut. I exhausted myself, resisting. Sleepy, she said, and collapsed completely asleep. It seems like she's the type to recover magic power through sleeping as well. Leaving her like that isn't good. But it seems like Hesty is dragging her back to her own cabin, though I must say her method of dragging is a bit rough. Well, if I leave it to her then it'll be fine. Lots of things have happened, so I might as well have a bath. There was still time before lunch would be ready, so I decided to give this bath a try before anyone else. In the dressing room I undressed and lightly rinsed my body, then immersed myself in the bath. The onsen was shrouded in white steam as it slowly warmed my body. As I thought, this is wonderful, I relaxed in the tub as my body slowly began to unwind. Hesty had returned from her cabin and was looking at me. What's up? Did you want to come in, Hesty? I can come in too? Yeah, use it as you please. I made it to be used. Also, this onsen has magic power in it. It'd be good for Hesty, who has some wounds here and there on her body. This will probably work on my injuries. Then come on in and get better. It's a hot spring cure, I said, and Hesty's gaze seemed to waver. She looked at her body, then at mine. I'm pretty dirty right now. Is it okay? When I entered a human bathhouse, covered in dirt, they got angry. Well, if you wash a bit it's alright. The drainage area has a vent so it won't be blocked. Also, dirty water will be drawn away by the drainage. There's a lot of onsen water coming from the dungeon below, so water supply shouldn't be an issue. Then, I'll come in, she said, and removed her clothes. She then tottered over to the changing bathroom room. There she washed off the worst of the mud, then entered the bathtub. Then, Fua. She let out a voice I'd never heard from her before. Ooh, it feels good as I thought. It's not often I get to take a bath in such a big tub. Also, it's always with cold water. I see. She's a dragon, so she usually doesn't get to submerge herself in hot water like this. Fundamentally, dragons are tidy, so we bathe ourselves. The water is Usually cold though. Ramiro's is an exception though. As I thought. Normally, a dragon won't have a slime stuck to them for 100 years. If they bathed during that time, it'd come off. Oh, so that's how it is. Would that slime that was on her come off? Well, that slime had sucked a lot of strength and magic from her, so probably not. Its core was also abnormally large. Oh. What did you do with the slime's magic core? As Hesty said, I had indeed taken the slime's magic stone, but I buried it like usual. While Hesty was away for a bit, I had buried it under my house like usual. I thought that it was pretty much the same as the Dungeon Master's core, so I dealt with it the same way. A while ago, I felt like the dragon veins magic had been strengthened a little bit, but that's why. I thought it'd strengthen it a bit, but I honestly couldn't feel it at all. Don't worry about it. For you, it'd probably be like noticing there were a few more grains of sand in a desert. I don't know what to think of that comparison. I'd like to be able to sense things too. Later I'll ask Sakura and Hesty the trick to it. Well, at any rate, relaxing and soaking in the onsen like this is great. I'm glad everything ended well. Hesty gave a small nod and looked at my face. Then she gave a little embarrassed laugh and said, also, I waited a bit, but thank you. You really saved me. I was happy you came. Ooh, it was my pleasure. We continued to converse as we slowly enjoyed the warmth of the onsen. My house is a magic power spot. Just by living there I become the strongest in the world. Chapter 82. Using the hot water of the onsen, my body was warmed for several minutes when Daiki Dano tilde, are you here? Wait. Wahiya? It seems like Diania came calling with a large basket. Apparently she had teleported to the outer area of my garden and walked over. I hadn't made a wall around the onsen, so everything within was visible. I had thought there wouldn't be anyone who would come peek, so I made it without any such defenses. But I suppose that I do have guests from time to time. I thought that I could make a wall out of a tree pretty easily. It's Diania, huh? What's up? Has the reopening of the festival been decided? I leaned out of the onsen and asked. But her face was bright red and she averted her eyes. Daiki Dano, I think it's bad to be nude at this time. It can't be helped. I'm in an onsen. My towel is hanging on a nearby tree, but if I were to try to get it, I'd have to stand up fully naked. Well, you shouldn't be able to see much below my chest. Since it didn't seem like we'd be able to continue our conversation like this, I submerged myself once more into the onsen. The hot water was pretty opaque, so I thought it'd be useful for hiding my body. Diania seemed to sigh in relief. So, something about the festival? Why yeah, that's right. I wanted to tell you that we were thinking of resuming the festival tomorrow. She still looked away but sent furtive glances towards me as she said that. There wasn't a lot of damage, but there was a lot of chaos. After handling all the important matters and other things today, we can start it for real tomorrow. I see. Well, I've used up my supply of apples, so the extra day is quite welcome. Once there were less people out at night, I had a couple of boxes I wanted to carry in. I see. Then that's great. So, what's in the basket? She seemed pretty careful with it, so I wonder what's in it. This is alcohol and food, she said as she put it down. She took several clay pots from within the basket. These were made in conjunction with the start of the festival today, but it was put off till tomorrow. They'd be wasted if they weren't consumed fresh, so they are being given to the people of the castle and town. And why did you bring it here? Everyone agreed to give the best things to Daiki Dano. I agreed as well, and brought it for you. I see. I'm grateful, but I didn't really do that much work. Is it alright? That's ridiculous. If that counts as nothing much, then I really can't say what would be. Well. If I had to say. I wasn't the one who worked hard. It was Hesty and Diania. I basically only played a gigantic game of catch. Well, anyways, please accept. These haven't been opened. so it'd be nice if you drink some. Something like celebrating the eve of the festival, Diania said and took a bottle of sake from inside of the basket. Sure. It'd be good to have a nice drink with my lunch. I was thinking that there was a little something missing with my onsen. Having a drink while relaxing in my onsen would complete the experience. It seems like I'm in for quite a pleasant time, or so I murmured when, that's right. Would you mind if I entered as well? Diania said with a strange amount of force and tension in her voice. Fumu. It seems like she likes onsens as well. Dude, are you kidding me? That's fine. Come in and give me your feedback. Over there is the dressing room. Then I'll be entering. Diania happily headed towards the changing room. As I watched her retreating figure, I rose from the bath and grabbed my towel before wrapping it around my body. Then I'm going up to help prepare lunch. Use the onsen as you please. Daiki, you sobbed. Why you break your heart? Sakura should know that Diania is here, but she probably doesn't know what she came here for, so I'll tell her. You're here so the number of people eating lunch increased. I need to let Sakura know. Daiki Dano? Well then, enjoy it at your leisure. And so I left the onsen and went to prepare for the lunch party. My house is a magic power spot. Just by living there I become the strongest in the world. Chapter 83. On the outskirts of the garden there was a blue-colored slime. However, this slime wasn't the formless blob that I'd come to recognize, but shaped like a human. Its shape seemed like a human woman. It didn't look like it was coming to attack, but instead remained under the shade of a tree and bowed its head. What's up with that slime? It doesn't look like an enemy, so it doesn't seem hostile to Sakura either. Usually it would invade my land trying to get more magic power. Why isn't it doing it this time? Master, you handled that giant slime stone by burying it, right? It may believe that you are its superior due to this. Seriously? I just buried it. How did it turn into this? Monsters are mostly faithful to their instincts and instinctively loyal to their leader. Also, neither of us are showing hostility. It may be trying to show its loyalty by taking a shape close to yours. I see. Let me approach and see. I approached the woman-shaped slime and it began to shake strangely before it bowed its head even more deeply. Yeah. You don't have to be so scared. We're not enemies, I called out, and the slime timidly raised its head. Fumu, even though it's a slime it seems to be able to understand words. I wonder if it'll be able to speak. Does it have vocal cords? I'll ask Hesty about the local flora and fauna later. As I thought that, the slime made a friendly sound and quietly disappeared into the forest. What was that? Probably appealing to you that it wasn't an enemy. As expected, I couldn't understand slime speech, and what it said was unknown. But as long as it's not hostile, I'm happy. But still. I don't know what it said. Would you like to try and cultivate an apple to allow you to understand? If I feel like it. As I continued to chat with her, we finished up our lunch party prep. I should go call the people in the onsen soon. Diania had quietly entered the onsen, then, I screwed up. Her shoulders drooped as she sat in the warm bath. How should I say this? Don't mind. Thank you, Hesty Dono. It's so warm and nice. As she thought to herself that she should have asked to relax together, she splashed her face with the water. About the matter with Ramiro's. Is the town all right? Hesty asked with a serious look on her face. In response, Diania nodded. Yeah. You don't have to worry, we have received the compensation so there is no problem on that front. Plus, leaving Daiki Dano aside. You helped us quite a bit, Hesty Dono. I didn't do anything. It was thanks to him that everything turned out alright. No, even so. Thank you, Hesty Dono. It was thanks to her that they were able to make early preparations. That is a fact. Hesty simply scratched at her cheek with an expressionless look on her face. Even if you thank me, I didn't do much, as I thought, if he wasn't there, then it would have been dangerous. That is my burden to bear. I only cause him trouble. If I were stronger then I would be able to protect the city. If she had been able to put even more barriers up, then she might have been able to stop the Dragon King from falling. As she thought that, the desire to become stronger continued to well up within her. Diania, for a human, you are more than strong enough. Haha. For the White Dragon King Hesti Dano to tell me that. I've regained a bit of confidence, but it's not enough. I need to train harder and get stronger, she thought as she immersed herself in the onsen. Alright, I gotta try even harder, she said and splashed her face with water to calm her unsettled heart. But still, after bathing with Hesti Dano, I feel my mind getting more and more awake. Getting energetic. A while ago she had been relaxed, but a heat was rising up within her body. She thought it might be the Dragon King doing something to cheer her up. If that was true, that'd be nice. That's not my doing. It's this onsen. It has strong magic power, which is permeating your body. It raised your magic power a little bit. Diania was so surprised she jumped up. She had never imagined that the onsen had this kind of effect. If I were to stay in here, would I keep getting stronger? Yeah, but you should be careful, you know. Huh? As Hesti said that, Diania began to feel giddy. This is an apostrophe T. Vertigo. Her field of vision began to spin and she couldn't stand right. The world began to spin. Her balance disappeared, and she couldn't stand. I was too late. No. Just like that, Diania fell to her knees and began to collapse. But she was caught by Hesti. Magic intoxication. Without strong magic resistance, this happens. But if you relax for a bit, it'll go away. But it's dangerous, so I'll lay you outside of the bath, Hesti said and slowly dragged Diania out of the bath. I'm sorry, but to think that I can't enter the onsen without training. She'd let down her guard when she saw Daiki so naturally relaxing in the bath, but she'd forgotten about the crazy amount of magic he possessed. Well, that guy who enters so casually is abnormal, so don't mind you, As she was being carried away by Hesti, Diania thought. This is the first time that taking a bath was difficult, and so, she wanted to get stronger. Strong enough to use the bath as long as she pleased. And as she looked at the sky, she determined her new goal. My house is a magic power spot. Just by living there I become the strongest in the world. Chapter 84. Right after the lunchtime feast, I got sleepy. Thanks to the slightly intense usage of magic power, I wanted to take a nap, but I slept till midnight. I looked out my window and saw the full moon glowing in the night sky. It was already late at night, but I'll go back to sleep. Or I would if I was still sleepy. I'd already slept for almost 10 hours, so I guess that's natural. I was thirsty, so I got a drink of water. But that only served to make me even more awake. Even so, it would be quite a while before it was morning. I wonder what I should do. I guess I could use Skanda and the Gilims to carry apples into town, but it's not really something that needs to be rushed either. It wasn't like I was going there first thing in the morning to make a living. I was doing it more as a hobby. It was something I did when I felt like it, and if I had extra apples. So if I took them in the morning or afternoon when I went to the festival, it'd all work out. Furthermore, it was a quiet and peaceful night. I didn't want to break that calm with such excessive movement, so I guess I could just get in the bath. I went to the trouble of making it, so it wouldn't be a bad thing to take my time and enjoy it. With that in mind, I set off to take a bath. As I relaxed in the onsen, I started to feel a little sleepy as my body warmed up, and just like that, I gazed up at the beautiful night sky as the water warmed me. Then, "So this is where you were, Master," Sakura said as she walked over from the changing room. "Oh, Sakura? I was wondering where you were when I saw you weren't in the room." "So this is where you were." Number. "I was finishing up my patrol around the house and was heading back to gaze upon your sleeping face when I sensed you were here. Would it be alright if I joined you?" "Oh, that's fine. Then, please excuse me," she said as she removed her clothes and entered the bath. Then she slowly approached my side and sat down. Master's onsen feels so good. I'm glad you like it. It was worth making it this large. It was wide enough that even if 10 people got in, it wouldn't feel confined. Yes, I'm also thankful that I can enter around this time while I'm doing my rounds. That's right. She did say she was patrolling before. I never realized what Sakura had been doing for the few months that we've been here. No, it's nothing much. I just do make a lap around the house, look at your sleeping face, sense the state of your health, and make breakfast. That's already quite a lot. Thanks. No, it's as it should be, Sakura said with a small giggle. I've received so much from her. I want to pay her back. Even if it's just a bit. Oh, that's right. There's one thing I have at the very least. When I remembered it, I got up and headed to the dressing room. Master? I have a little reward for your hard work. Drink this. I retrieved a pot of liquor and a set of small cups for sake from the dressing room and brought it back. It's the best alcohol they have. Diania brought it. According to her, it doesn't cause a hangover or nausea even if you have a lot. I think it's the perfect thing for right now. Didn't you drink it for lunch yesterday? No. I set it aside because I wanted to drink it with you, so I thought now was a good time and it can serve as a bit of my thanks to you, I said and poured Sakura a cup of liquor. Thank you very much. Then I will accompany you. I poured some into my cup as well and we both quietly drank. It was delicious and refreshing. It gently began warming my insides in a different way than the onsen. Is it good, Sakura? Yes. But having you do such a thing for me makes me feel almost guilty. No, don't let it bother you. In fact, I've received so much from you. Also, things have been busy, so I haven't had the opportunity to relax with you like this, Sakura. Sometimes it's good to relax together like this, I thought to myself, when Sakura cuddled up to me. Sakura? Passing time peacefully with you makes me so happy. I see, although it's nice when people come over and it gets lively. I also like it when it's just the two of us. Me too. And so, Sakura and I cuddled in the onsen while enjoying good sake and good company. My house is a magic power spot. Just by living there I become the strongest in the world. Chapter 85. The next morning we stood in front of our house, which had grown even larger. It really got quite a bit bigger in only a single day. Yes. It got much bigger after entering the onsen with you, Master, Sakura murmured while blushing. Last night we'd entered the onsen while having some normal skinship. And this morning we found the house had gotten 10 more floors. It was a surprising amount of growth. In fact, I think it grows much too easily. For now I need to bury the extra floors to maintain the top floor's stability. I'd like to build some separate facilities, but that onsen. Rather than saying it improves the chances of making kids, it increases the chances of making houses. I believe you're right. Let's enter again another time, Master, Sakura said happily. Her skin looked smooth and glossy. It seems she really liked the onsen. When I need more floors, then I suppose we should enter once more. Yes, in preparation I will keep the onsen nice and clean, Sakura said and ran towards the onsen. I guess it'd be alright to leave the onsen under her supervision, as I thought that. Hello! Exclamation mark. What? Diania walked in from the garden and looked at my house in surprise. It's gotten bigger again. What happened? Well, this and that. Anyways. Isn't today the day of the festival, Diania? Is it alright that you're not there? Yes, indeed. For the next 4 days Prussia would be celebrating their forefathers with a grand festival. Various stores and their branches should need supervising and opening, or so Diania had said. So I was thinking that she'd be very busy. I was wondering if it was really alright for her to be here when. Yeah. It'd fine. After the initial preparations, the rest is left for the merchant leader to take care of. I need to guide around guests of honor on the 3rd day, but today and tomorrow I'm free to do as I please. I won't be able to completely relax, but compared to those all-nighters this is easy, Diania said with a wry smile. If she says that's taking it easy, then I have nothing else to say. But I never found out what exactly is going on in this festival. I'd received a basic outline but nothing specific. Oh, that's right. I never explained to you, Daiki Dano. Magic is very popular in my city, so There are many who take the opportunity to present and sell their magical research and sell magic things. For this purpose there are many people who patronize them. There are adventurers, magic knights, soldiers, and other scholars who desire the knowledge and items. How's the security at the festival? From what I've heard it seems like a gathering of dangerous people. As for that, there's no problems. Over the years the adventurers who attend have dealt with problems as a courtesy. Also there are guards for the big shots who come from far away. So there are lots of big shots then. Sounds difficult, I said and nodded when I noticed Diania staring at me with wide eyes. No. In my opinion Daiki Dano is in a high position. No, I'm just a regular guy. I don't have any kind of position. I'm just a regular dude who's trying to live peacefully in the forest. Let's leave that aside for now. Are you coming today, Daiki Dano? Yeah, I thought I would, but today's the first day. Will there be a lot of people during the day? Yes, there will be a lot of people, I see. Then I won't go during the day. Why? I had two reasons. First off was purely because I didn't want to have to push my way through crowds of people. I don't want to wear myself out mentally like that. And the other reason was, I can use the magic suppressing coating, but I'm not sure how good it is. Plus, assuming it went well, if I needed to remove it for some reason, or if it got removed for any reason, it might cause a disaster. It might turn from carnival into carnage. Oh, I think that I'd be fine. But there's the possibility that the soldiers' hearts might not be able to handle it. And the women would all need to change their underpants. Diania slowly nodded. Then after a few more seconds of thinking, she nodded again. However, I think it should be fine. The people who have arrived in Prussia all possess magic resistance to some degree, so I think you'll be fine anytime you'd like to come. Is that so? Then I'll just go like normal. Okay, go ahead. But I'd like to tell you, if you'd prefer a less hectic time then you should come in the evening. I see. Then I'll be going tonight then, as usual. Then I'll be imposing on you this evening. Okay, then I'll have to adjust my plans. Adjust? Why, what are you doing? No. I just wanted to guide you around town, Daiki Dano. That's right, I haven't been to Prussia much and I'm pretty unfamiliar. If she could take the time to guide me it'd make things much easier, though I don't think I'll be moving from my shop much. I see. Then I'll be in your care, Diania. Okay, then I'll see you tonight. And so my schedule for tonight was set. For now, I'll do what I need to until the sun sets. Although there was the big Dragon King falling incident, it seemed as though things were going smoothly. The fact that the people were able to enjoy the festival safely was welcome, she thought as she realized that it was thanks to that man who lived in the forest. Her line of thinking continued until she began to think on her lack of strength. She remembered his face and her chest started to hurt a bit. I have to go. Show my gratitude once more, she murmured as she entered her office and, Princess, thank goodness you've returned. The Knight Captain dashed towards her in a panic. What's wrong, Knight Captain? Why are you in such a tizzy? No, the country has contacted us just now, he said and handed Diania the letter. She tilted her head in confusion and read what was written in the note. A few days ago the first princess snuck out of the capital city and is heading to Prussia. Please take care of her. Why yes, she's already set off and will be here by tomorrow at the latest. What's that little scamp thinking? Diania thought back. She was younger than Diania, but was closer to the king and a bright and energetic girl. Well, she does have security attached to her, so she should be safe from bodily harm. If she didn't then this would be even more of a problem. My soldiers are strong so I'll be fine. Or so the private message we'd received said. The private forces are strong and she herself is no weakling. So there shouldn't be too much of a problem. I'm around as well. Diania herself was trained to be proficient in self-defense magic. If the situation arose that required it, she could teleport them back to the castle in an emergency. But, really, their timing is bad. It can't be helped. We're going to have to revise the defenses and patrols. Gather the knights and magic squad, Knight Captain. Oh, and bring me a report on the current status of the town. Why yes, as you wish. Today was going to be another busy day. She would have to take care of the matter quickly and efficiently so that she could guide Daiki around the town tonight. Darn, really. I'm only allowed to be just a normal old magic user in front of Daiki Dano. Well, though she said that now, it couldn't be helped. All she could do now was work as hard as she could so she would have enough time to spend with her most admired person. As Diania thought that, she gazed at the report in her hand. Is Diania-sama here? From the hallway she could see Anne running over. Even after she became a normal citizen instead of a Fort City representative, her power gave her the right to come see her whenever. What's wrong, Anne? Why are you in such a rush? No, I just forgot to communicate something to you that I've remembered. Forgot? She wondered what it was. So even she has moments like this. Well, I've been pulling all-nighters almost every night so it completely slipped my mind. An acquaintance of mine, a Dragon King, told me via draconic telepathy that she was coming to Prussia. Huh. They're the Supreme Dragon King so they're quite strong. As such they sometimes cause some problems and… You Diania-sama? Your eyes are rolled in the back of your head. Are you alright? Huh? Diania regained consciousness. Dr. Dragon King, huh? I see. They're coming, huh? Yes, well they shouldn't be particularly hostile to people. But they're stronger than me, so I came to tell you. I see. Diania didn't really understand how to quantify that Dragon King's strength. But at the very least it was stronger than Anne. Who was stronger than her. That's dangerous. Why is it dangerous? Because this is a Dragon King that takes pride in their own power, correct? Then if they challenged Daiki Dano. Then it'd become a war between monsters. That probably won't happen. I don't think. Well, Daiki-sama would definitely win. She also didn't want to think about the possibility. But right now there were a lot of people gathered in Prussia. This would be the worst time for something like this to happen. Furthermore, the first princess was coming. The problems were just piling up. Her first task was to cope. She wondered if she'd be able to finish by tonight. She almost fell into a pit of depression, but it couldn't be helped. She'd have to deal with all of this so she could spend some time with him tonight. And let me know about this Dragon King. Alright. It seemed like she'd be working herself to the bone until night fell. End of Volume 3. My house is a magic power spot. Just by living there I become the strongest in the world. Chapter 86. Volume 4. After Diania left, I started tampering with my trees. Soon after, Hestia appeared wiping the sleep from her eyes. Fuwa. Good morning. Oh, good morning, Hestia. I felt a difference in the magic waves, so I woke up. What are you doing? Hestia's gaze was focused at my feet. I was doing something different from usual, so I wonder if that was the cause for the magic undulations difference. Well, setting that aside, well, I'm trying to modify my golem to be small. Why? I made a shop in town, right? I thought that a big one would have problems with the tight space. Yep, my shop in town is different from my home. It is much more restricted in space, so I thought that having my golem stomping around the place would take up too much space, and so I thought to miniaturize my golems. If I do that I can guarantee that I won't run out of room. Ah, so what you're making is a golem. Yep, I was making them smaller using two methods: compression and reduction in materials. When I compress it they become heavier and their movements become dull. So to fix that I simply reduced the amount of wood needed to make it. Usually I use one entire tree for a golem, but for this I only used half, and so a golem that was half as large as the others was created. Yeah, the size problem is solved, but what about its ability? I thought and ordered the golem to carry a stone in the garden. For a normal-sized golem it would have been easy, but it seems to be a bit weak in the horsepower department. The smaller golem was able to lift a rock that was about the same size as itself. But it wasn't strong enough to walk with it, so it's not strong enough to carry a rock. When I reduce the materials the strength weakens. But I think for a golem it's strong enough. They usually can't carry a rock that size. Really? Well, I wouldn't use them outside of the shop, so I think they're strong enough. The most they would have to carry would be a box of apples. Plus I think they're strong enough to squeeze the apples as well. But still, I still want to pursue a bit more performance. If I'm going to miniaturize them, I want to try and use them for other things as well. Is that so? Then, why don't you mix in different materials? Mix other materials in the golem? It's something I do when making wands. If it's not strong enough, I mix in other things. I see. As expected of a craftsman, I was too focused on the miniaturization and didn't consider the materials. I think I should try some other materials. Luckily I've got stones and magic stones from the dungeon lying around here. I'll give those a shot. I guess I'll stick this in here. Are you just going to stick it in that thing? I can't. I had just pushed a magic stone into the golem's arm when Hesty cried out. I wonder why. Hesty said that she does the same thing. Normally, you'd make it into a powder, and you wouldn't use much. If not, it'll become difficult to control the magic. Is that so? You should have told me soon. Wait, it moves fine. As Hesty stared, the golem that had been mixed with the magic stone picked up a rock that was bigger than itself and started running around. I ordered it to stop and it did. The control over it was fine. Oh, it can finally carry this stuff. This might be good. I see. As I thought, my common sense might not be worth much here. Hesty's shoulders drooped as she looked at the golem deadlifting rocks. I feel kinda sorry for her. I feel like I've done something I shouldn't have. Don't let it bother you. This is strange. Is there a problem? I asked and Hesty nodded. Just by putting a magic stone in, it got way too powerful. Normally, it won't be like that. Even if you put in a bigger stone, it's impossible. Well, even if you say it's impossible, I'm just working with the materials on hand. It might be because it's a magic stone from beneath the house. That might be the reason it's so strong. I see. I haven't used it for anything except my onsen. My dungeon might unexpectedly provide good materials. Then maybe we should take a trip underground. If I get more, then I can finish the miniaturization before tonight. And so, Hesty and I headed towards the dungeon beneath the house. My house is a magic power spot. Just by living there I become the strongest in the world. Chapter 87. It's been quite a while since I came here without Sakura. Really? Yeah, this place is big. When I'm here with Sakura I can sync and check that I'm going the right way. I'm able to go straight to my destination. But this time I don't really have a destination in mind. I'm just here to gather up the magic stones that this place is made of. So I guess we can just go in for a bit and get what we need. I suppose. Actually, this entrance has already turned into high-quality magic stones, Hesty said and looked at the wall next to the stairs. It had a bit of a green glow. I wonder if that proves it's high quality. Yeah, when enough magic is contained within it, it will begin to shine. So that is proof that enough magic has gathered. Oh, Hesty really knows her stuff. I'm glad I brought her with me. I don't know which soil or which stones are actually any good, so I should just gather the things that shine? Basically, that's the rule. Got it. But the dungeon walls are all shining. I wonder where I should gather them from. Indeed, my dungeon's walls were practically all shining. This made it so we could walk without a light. That's how bright it was. This, even I don't know where we should start. This was unexpected. Whoa, it seems like Hesty gave up. She won't look at me and she seems to be sulking. Well, I've never seen a dungeon like this. I've seen other dungeons that other Dragon Kings made, but they were never this incredible. I've never seen a dungeon with this much material, so I don't have anything to compare it to. Is that so? Going back, you said Dragon Kings could make dungeons too, huh? I thought that only dungeon masters could do that. The Dragon King can employ monsters in place of a dungeon master and construct the dungeon. A Dragon King can also depend on a spirit to create a spirit dungeon as well. depend on a spirit. You're saying some crazy stuff. Well, that's just an example. In my case, I won't use one. There are those who take it too easy. Well, there was a Dragon King who just left a slime on her body, so I can definitely see them leaving everything to the spirit. I don't really understand the concept though. I guess there are lots of different types of dungeons. Quite a few. There are different categories. Spirit dungeons don't have monsters, only spirits and ghosts live there, so it's easy to remember. You say it's easy, but I've never seen another dungeon except for the one under my house, so I have no frame for comparison. I wonder how my dungeon would be classified. Monsters haven't appeared. I've gotten magic stones and an onsen from it. It had an underground water source and a large open space. It might not be identifiable as of yet. Also that onsen. I think you mean the magic source. It'd be a pretty horrible trap for most people, you know. For me, if I got some on me, I wouldn't be able to move and might die. That's right. Hesty had never approached the place where the onsen welled up from. Well, I think this dungeon is really high in difficulty. The materials are really high quality. And you live above it. High difficulty. Why am I part of this? Well, this dungeon is under your home and is part of your property, to be used as an indicator for how difficult this is. It's a strange feeling. Well, setting the difficulty aside, I don't intend on letting unknown people into my dungeon, although, up till now there hasn't been any intruders. Well, for now I'll just be fine with grabbing some materials. I think this place should be fine. Alright, I'll dig a bit. And so Hesty and I filled our bags with magic stones. We gathered quite a bit. Even if I don't use them all in the golems, there are other uses, so it's fine. We brought back whatever we could carry. My house is a magic power spot. Just by living there I become the strongest in the world. Chapter 88. Alright, for now it seems the small golems are ready. It seems like I somehow completed the small and slim golems. Normally when I make them, they'd end up 3 meters tall, but these ones are 1 meter tall. Their physiques are also quite thin. I'm putting their appearances off till later so they look a little uncool, but for now they're done. I can adjust the appearance later. But I think they're pretty good. Golem, pick up the rocks. After hearing my order, the golem went and started picking up rocks until it found it difficult to move. The golems became about 3/10 magic stone. Yep, this is the best ratio. The wood golems' movements are pretty smooth, but once you add too many magic stones they become stiff. If I put too many in, the golems got way too hard. It seemed like you'd get injured just by touching them. Once they started moving it'd be dangerous. That's why 3/10 is the optimum for now. This ratio is where the flexibility of the wood and power of the stones mix well together. It makes it so they are able to lift the garden stones while jogging. Oh, stop golem. The golem was just about to run over Ramiro, who was lying on the ground. She was dead asleep and drooling. Why is Ramiro sleeping here? She should have been carried to Hesty's cabin last night. She has bad sleeping posture. I think she rolled all the way out here. Her sleeping posture took her all the way out of the cabin. If she sleeps here then she's just getting in the way. Golem, put down the stone and carry that sleeping person to the bench. The golem obeyed and lifted up Ramiro's. At that moment the ground beneath the golem's feet sunk in. Hesty, it looks like she's heavier than the rock. Why? It looks like her mass is not the same as her appearance. She's inexperienced with transformation. But a golem that can easily lift a Dragon King is abnormal. But if it can lift something that heavy then it definitely passes the test in the power department. Even if it's smaller, it'll be able to do manual labor easily. As I thought that. I'm spinning. Oh, you're up, Ramiro's? As the golem was putting her on the bench, Ramiro's woke up and looked at me. It's warm here. Thanks, Steaki-san. No. That's fine too. But how long are you going to sleep here? Here magic deficiency should mostly be fixed, but shouldn't she be returning to the sky? Hesty's house is comfy. Also, Unless my scales all recover, I won't be able to handle the atmosphere up there. I don't particularly mind if you make yourself at home. However, Hesty is the one I rented the place out to, so let's ask her opinion. How about it, Hesty? For now. I'm going to kick her out. I'll stuff her in Anne's house. That should be fine. That's cruel, Tilda. It's not. I'm giving you a little extension. Also, if you want to talk, then sit up. The two Dragon Kings faced each other as they spoke. I wonder if they'll reach an agreement. I wondered as the little golem returned to my side. I looked at it and saw that it hadn't cracked, even after carrying Ramiro's. I understood at that moment how useful the magic stones were in this process. Just inserting one raises the power. I bet if I made an arm completely out of magic stone, it'd have quite a lot of power. If I equipped my wood armor with that, I think I'd be able to punch through tough bedrock. In that case, my gardening and dungeon exploration would be easy. Speaking of sinking, I've become able to do it by myself. But right now I don't have enough magic stone to make that arm. After making the small golem, I didn't have much left. I needed much more to make more golems and new items. So, alright, I'll go again after I eat lunch. And so, after I filled my stomach, I went to the dungeon to stock up on materials. My house is a magic power spot. Just by living there I become the strongest in the world. Chapter 89. I saw that Ramiro's seemed to be hanging her head after. Is she okay? Yes, she's too easy going, so going that far is just right. She has the power of a Dragon King. She should do some work, as expected of a childhood friend. She really knows her well. Well, I've known her a long time. Oh, there's some more over there. Oh, thanks. I'm quite grateful that Hesty took the time to come down here with me. She's very knowledgeable about materials, so it makes this much easier. It seems there's a lot I don't know about items and materials. This dungeon has a lot of things. This is kind of fun. It seems like Hesty's having a good time, so it's alright, I thought as we continued through the dungeon. Ah, that's a rare metal. If you put it in a wand, it increases the performance. Normally there's not enough of it, but here seems to be quite a bit. Then I'll take it. Maybe I'll give it to Diania as a gift. We picked up a purple-colored metal along the way. This is a magical item. Material. It appears buried underground. It's about twice as big as the ones I've seen before. This is a present for Anne. Then we gathered a white-colored bulb of vegetation. This. I wonder what it is. I've never seen it. It has a good scent. It probably has quite a bit of magic in it. We'll take it to look into it later. We grabbed strange and rare things as we proceeded. As we continued to grab things one after another, Hesty's face started to look strangely grim. Huh? What's wrong, Hesty? Why are you making such a face? In my opinion, there are way too many rare things in this dungeon. It's abnormal. It's much too abundant. Isn't that a good thing? I suppose. After looking at this dungeon, I have to try and keep my common sense from using this dungeon as a measuring stick for others. It seems like her thoughts are going in a bit of a strange direction. But whatever. And so we continued on, gathering rare materials until we were deep in the cave. But then, where is this? We're lost. Before we realized it, we'd gone in too deep. We didn't know the way back. We went too deep all at once. The scenery doesn't change much down here. I suppose that might be the reason we got lost. But you don't look too worried. I think that being lost down here is a pretty big crisis. Well, if we really can't figure a way out, I'll make a golem, sink with it, and dig straight up, I said, and Hesty seemed dumbfounded. I really didn't expect such a heavy-duty escape plan. Well, that's how it is. I brought along an apple for lunch, so I should be able to manipulate it like I do back home. Well, anyways, don't worry and let's go collect some more. Okay. Oh, wait a moment. As Hesty was speaking, she suddenly stopped. I wonder if she found something like the onsen? There is a Magical response, she said and pointed towards a large hole. What's with this hole? It looked like something trying to expand my dungeon. I wonder if a mole started living here? What should we do? Well, we've still got time before it gets dark. We've already gone so far. Let's go in a bit further. There's no telling if we'd ever come back this deep. Well, if it doesn't look like there's any materials, we can just head back. And so we walked further in. My house is a magic power spot. Just by living there I become the strongest in the world. Chapter 90. Is there anything here, Hesty? There's magic stones. There's still that strange reaction, but I can't find it. I see. Then I'll check the other side. For this search I'd made a golem. Even if the materials were buried deep, the golem was powerful enough to dig them up. Plus, once it was time to head back we could use it as transportation, so this is two birds with one stone, I thought, and looked around the cave. Moo. Suddenly Hesty groaned. What's wrong? I looked over at Hesty and, Gisha, a weird thing jumped at Hesty. An enemy? It has a magical reaction, so for now. I guess I'll counter-attack. Hesty tilted her head in confusion and swung her arm at the semi-transparent creature. Huh? It didn't break? This thing is a bit strong. Then, the semi-transparent thing came towards me. Is it a monster? I don't really know what it is. But for now it's an enemy. Fumu. Well then, golem, pin it down. Boom. The golem slammed down on the semi-transparent enemy and, with a weak cry the creature stopped moving. Using the golem's body, I held down the strange creature and Hesty ran over. That was pretty strong, but you captured it so easily. Amazing. But are you okay? Yeah, I'm alright. Are you okay, Hesty? I'm fine. That's good. Anyways, I captured it. But what is it? The creature was trapped under the golem, but was wrapping around its arm. Catilda. What we'd caught was a 50-centimeter human-shaped creature. It had some tawny horns and was strangely transparent, so it was obviously not a human. However, it clearly wasn't a regular monster. Do you know anything about this, Hesty? It's probably a spirit. It may have been hiding inside of a magic stone, Hesty murmured, seeming perplexed. I see. A spirit, huh? This was the first time I'd seen another spirit aside from Sakura. Well, it's rare to see a spirit powerful enough to create a body. Your house's spirit is the exception among exceptions. I see. But why did this guy infiltrate my house's basement? I don't know. It settled in, but the ground around here is not suitable for normal spirits. Even if it has created a body, it shouldn't be able to handle the magic in this earth. The oversaturation might have made it aggressive. I don't know much about this, but I don't think it'd be a good idea to leave it alone in this case. Then how about we take it out with us? It attacked us and we had to subdue it. But maybe it was just lost and scared. Alright. By the way. How do we get out? Well, I cinched a bit and looked up the way out. We can set it to automatically take us out. Before I made the golem I made sure to check the way out of this place. You're really amazing. Well, this is my house after all. Plus, this place isn't that far in. We had walked for quite a while, but unexpectedly we weren't that far in. This is not far in, even though we found all that precious material. Is it weird? Normally you'd need to go in further to get precious things. So things are fine. I'm just adjusting my common sense. I'm a little worried about Hesty. She said she was okay, but her eyes were vacant. Is she really alright? Well, let's go home, Hesty. We can relax on the golem. Then I'll ride with you. And so we got on the golem and returned home with the spirit. As somehow I finished the unit arrangements. From early in the morning till now, she had been staring at documents and giving orders. Thanks to that she was exhausted, but even if another dragon fell they'd be able to quickly deploy the knights and mages. Each unit had been furnished with defensive magics, so the arrangements should be perfect. Anne had been asked to be on the lookout for other dragon kings who would approach, so measures for that have been put in place as well. But I'm glad it's over, she said as she straightened up and looked out the window at the lively festival. She heard happy voices and bright lights. She was truly grateful that she'd be able to spend time with him in this fun celebration. She was looking forward to when the sun fully set. When, "Princess, emergency." When she heard the knight captain's panicked voice, she nearly fell flat on her face, but she managed to withstand the urge to hit her head against something and looked at him. Again? What is it this time? "Princess, as of now the Princess Sama has arrived." What, already? That was too fast. She'd only received the news today and was expecting her by the next day or after that. She wanted to enjoy the festival, so she came as fast as she could. Doing these things without even telling me. She also sent a verbal message. "On Sama, I'm sorry for coming so quickly. I'm sure it'll take some time to ready the castle. And I want to watch the festivities, so I'll wait in front of the castle," or so she says. Yeah, it sounded just like her. It had been a while since Diania had seen her, but those words caused her to remember. She was an uninhibited child, but she had her manners and acknowledged Diania as her elder. Well then, first prepare the castle to receive her and call her in. And so Diania left her office. Two women were standing in front of the Prussian castle. The young lady was wearing a pretty dress and was smiling prettily while watching the festivities. It's been so long, but Onsama's town is so lively. It's so pretty and there's so many interesting things. It's fun. How about you, Karen? She called to the woman wearing lightweight clothing and a mantle, who nodded slowly. Indeed, Princess Athena. It's the first time I've been to a place like this, but there seems to be a lot of delicious things. My interest has been drawn. Foo, you're a glutton as always, Karen Tilda. They were familiarizing themselves with the sights as colorfully costumed people milled around, causing the lights and music to ebb and flow. Among everything she saw, Athena's eye was drawn to a gigantic tree that stood in front of the castle. It was a tree that stood as tall as the castle, so it really stood out. But still, I wonder what this huge tree is. When I came here before, it wasn't here. Is that so? I felt enormous magic power from it, so I thought it was this town's guardian deity. You also feel magic from it too, Karen, Athena murmured while looking at the tree and the store that had been taken inside of it. Yes. This huge magic power doesn't seem to be a false front, but for such a huge thing to be made by human hands seems impossible, so I'd say it was made by an abnormal magic weather or cataclysm. I see. As expected of Karen-sensei, you really know a lot, Athena said while giggling, and Karen smiled back at her. I'm not your teacher, I'm your guard, Princess Athena. Also, in matters of knowledge, I have elder sisters who are above me in such matters, plus there are many things that exceed my imagination. I'd like to see someone stronger than Karen. I always like to see strong people. Indeed, she said as Athena turned her gaze from the tree. Karen continued to gaze at it with a serious look in her eyes. For this much magic to be in the tree, it's definitely not natural. What kind of monster was here to cause such a phenomenon? Karen murmured while looking from the bottom of the tree to its top. When, sorry for making you wait. A elegantly armored knight exited the castle. Diania-sama's preparations are complete. Please, come with me, Princess Athena-sama and Karen-sama. Thank you, Knight Captain San. Let's go, Karen. We need to communicate the orders from the capital. Let's do our best. Yes, let us go. According to the rumors, a strong guy has been hanging around Onsama. I can't wait to meet him. And so they entered the castle while chatting cheerfully. My house is a magic power spot. Just by living there I become the strongest in the world. Chapter 91. We returned to the house on my golem along with our harvest. We had sorted the items when Sakura trotted over. Master, you've returned. Yep, I'm home. Oh yeah, it's good that Sakura's here. I had the golem present the captured spirit. Hey Sakura, this guy was living downstairs. Do you know anything about this? It's a spirit, yes? No. I don't know. What happened? We were exploring and it jumped out at us, so we've captured it for now. Is that so? But, as expected of Master, it's very difficult to physically bind a spirit. But you did so with an arm filled with magic, Sakura said as she gently touched the golem's arm. Huh. It's difficult to do. I'm glad that I used the golem then, since I do not remember allowing it to live here and Master did not give it permission to live underground. Then I believe it got lost here. I believe it jumped out at you because it took in too much magic power when creating its body and became magically intoxicated, drunk. The spirit got drunk off of magic? I don't know about the ecology of a spirit, but I'm happy to be taught. So, what do we do with this one? From what I've seen, it doesn't seem to be an enemy, but we should at least scold it so it does not try to harm Master again, Sakura said, then smiled sweetly and looked at the spirit. Then, the spirit began to shiver. In fact, it began to vigorously shake its head from side to side. Fumu, it may be trying to declare its intentions. Well, I did give it a punch earlier and it's come along with us obediently. I can at least put it down on the ground. The golem placed it on the ground and released it. Then, it bowed its head quickly, then backed away rapidly. It disappeared beneath the shadow of a tree. Oh, it ran away? No, it is still there. Huh? Now that I look again, it was concealing itself with the tree and looking over here. What is it doing? Well, it's not a bad creature, is it? It doesn't seem to be an enemy. It looks to be a peaceful type of spirit. Then let's just leave it. It's almost time to go to town after all. Ah, that's right. The sun was pretty much set, so I thought it'd be a good time to head to town. I'll get prepared to go at once. In fact, I was just in the middle of doing so, Sakura said and turned, showing off several boxes of apples that were ready to go. They were the ones we'd use for the shop. Oh. You prepared beforehand? Thank you, Sakura. That's a big help. No, it is a blessing to be useful to Master. Furthermore, I've been looking forward to going out with Master. Looking forward to it so much that I ended up preparing so early, Sakura said and smiled bashfully. Then let's bring a bit more out to take to the store. Okay. All that was left to make the rest of the golems that would carry the boxes. Then as I touched a tree, Hesty walked out from the trees carrying a box. It was a box filled with magic stones. I chose, and brought, some magic stones. These are, the hardest magic, stones with the most, magic in them. They're hard, to process, but if it's you, then you can do it. Oh, thank you. With this I can make smaller sized golems and an external golem arm attachment. It might be possible to finish them before we leave. Oh. I forgot. Hesty-chan, are you coming with us to the festival? Can I come? Hesty asked with head tilted questioningly. I was wondering why she even needed to ask when. I don't want to barge in on your alone time, she said with a serious look on her face. This Dragon King really pays attention to the needs of others. Sakura and I unintentionally looked at each other. Then, no, I like Hesty too. It's fine with me, you know. Yeah, just as Master said, you don't need to hold back. You can come too, okay? For me. I feel slightly disappointed that it won't be just me and him, but even more so I want to see Master having fun with everyone. That would bring me great happiness. Sakura and I said, and Hesty seemed a bit troubled. Then, I want to go as well. Okay, got it. Then before we go, help carry some apples. Okay, and so, we prepared ourselves to leave for the festival. My house is a magic power spot. Just by living there I become the strongest in the world. Chapter 92. Phew, 20 boxes. Quite a lot. Well, it's about half of our stock after all. The amount that the golems had been harvesting had decreased, but be that as it may, if time passed it'd still pile up. After replacing the trees that I'd used, using other types of materials, and eating them. I hadn't used too many, so it can't be helped that the amount hadn't decreased by much. Well, all that's left is to make some golems to carry them. To carry everything we needed into town we needed to have 20 or so large golems. The sight of a group of golems marching along might be overly showy, but I think it'll be fine. So I thought Taiki-san, do you have a moment? Ramiro's walked outside while rubbing the sleep from her eyes. What's up?
Well. I'd like to go to the festival with everyone. Is that okay? Go to town. I don't really mind, but is your body alright to do so? It was just yesterday that she'd fallen. She should be pretty damaged. Her scales hadn't even had time to regrow. Ramiro responded by hitting her chest with her hand. I've slept a lot on this land full of magic and stayed near Daiki-san who's filled with magic, so I've already recovered a bit. It's fine. That's some amazing recovery power. It's thanks to Daiki-san and everyone. And since I'm being a bother, I wanted to hurry and get better, Ramiro said with a wry smile and scratched at her cheek. Since I've recovered to this point, I can help Daiki-san and the humans transform, Ramiro shouted and was engulfed in smoke. When it cleared, she had changed into a tawny scaled dragon. However, she wasn't the humongous size she was yesterday. She was 80 meters large. Even so, she was still big. Look, in this form I can carry your things, okay? I can also carry Daiki-san to leap and soar for a while. Oh, I was thinking of taking my time and letting the golems take the luggage and us, but riding her would be faster and easier. However, if the dragon that fell into town yesterday jumped into town again today, it might not be great. Just take us near the town. It'd be bothersome to cause a ruckus, I thought when Hesty patted Ramiro's body and said, just in case, I will put my magic coating on you. If we use this, they won't see you as a threat. Oh, thank you, Hesty. Let's make use of anything that we can. Oh, that's right. I need to put the coating on myself as well. It had been a while, but I remembered how I put it on and it felt like wearing armor made of air again, but it suppressed the overflowing magic from my body, or so it should. Can you tell, Hesty? It's very good. It's suppressing it much better than last time. Did you practice? Yep. I practiced a bit when I had time. I'm glad that I got Hesty's seal of approval. With this, my prep is finished. Well then, get on my back with the luggage. And so we carried the boxes onto Ramiro's back when, hiya, Ramiro suddenly shook. Huh, what's wrong? Sorry. That's where a new scale is growing, so it's sensitive and my voice came out. When I looked again, I could see that the scale was colored differently. Oh? Sorry, I'll put it down slowly. I'll be in your care. And so we continued to carry things onto her. I'll be setting off, so find a place to cling onto, just in case. Things can be moved and fixed onto my scales with magic, Ramiro said, then flapped her wings and began to hover. Her scales were hard yet flexible and they fixed us and our luggage firmly to her. All that's left was to relax and wait while we flew to the city. I'm looking forward to the festival, Master. Me too. This would be the first time I'd seen the streets lively like this. I'm looking forward to that a bit. Well then, let's go. Yeah, Ramiro's. I'm counting on you, Roger. And so too, Dragon Kings, a spirit, and I headed to the city of Prussia at night. My house is a magic power spot. Just by living there I become the strongest in the world. Chapter 93. Is there anything abnormal? He asked, and one of the squad members responded, there are no problems, Knight Captain. That's right. With such harsh defenses there aren't any people who'd cause trouble. If that's so, then good. But on the table there was a bottle of alcohol. It was unopened, of course. He couldn't be drinking on the job. He properly trained himself to have an on and off switch when he was on the job or in his free time. But even though there's a festival now, it's only the first day. We can't let our guards down. Asu. Roger. But then as the soldiers on the roof responded, FR from the west, huge magical power is approaching. There are 3 of them. What? A member of the scouts ran over, filled with panic. The soldiers who had been relaxing suddenly sat straight up and began to look around cautiously. But, everyone, it's all right. Please calm yourselves, a kind voice said from the entrance of the room. The Knight Captain looked at the door and saw Ant standing there. And Anno, I thought you were looking out on the other side of town? Yes, but after feeling such large magic power I came here. This magic power is definitely Anusama, and Daiki-sama is with her, and said while standing on the terrace and staring off into the distance. When the soldiers heard the name Daiki, They started feeling tense in a different way. It was a tension mixed with relief and maybe a bit of faith. Why yeah, it's the hero who protects He-Town? Then that's good. For real, I thought my heart was gonna explode, ha ha ha, they said with wry smiles. That being the case, you don't need to do anything. That's right. That was a good drill. How to deal with a stressful situation. I'll have to give Taiki Dano my thanks. The scout squad all looked at each other with strange looks on their faces. Then as the knight captain nodded to himself, they got back to work. Well then, I need to tell Diania that Taiki Dano has arrived. Someone send a messenger. Then as the knight captain was in the process of getting a messenger, Helmani Dano, what are you doing? En was standing on the edge of the terrace. Don't worry about it. Recently I've been suffering from a Nusama deficiency and I was thinking of heading over for a bit. I'd be grateful if you tell Diania. I'll be back soon. Alrig. Height? Well then, see you later. And then in front of the panicking knight captain, Anne powerfully leapt from the floor of the castle. Ramirosa's speed was pretty fast. It only took a few minutes before we reached Prussia. Well, let's get off here. We were near the gate into Prussia. If we got off here and went on foot, there shouldn't be any problems. Or so I thought. Master, there's someone flying towards us from the front. I looked where Sakura was pointing and Anne was flying towards us with amazing speed and power. Upon seeing that, Hesty quickly raised her hand. I wonder if I can use magic to counter-attack. If I counter, then she'll fall though. Don't. Ian, get down here, then we can talk. Look, she looked a bit strange but she came down easily. However, in the process she grabbed hold of Hesty. Welcome Anusama. Daiki-sama as well. Thank you for bringing Anusama. Anne lowered her head while holding Hesty. I didn't really bring her for you. But you noticed even though we put the coating on. It's Anusama's magic after all. I've been hit by it before. How could I not know it? She's really scary. Hesty feebly mumbled. How should I say this? My condolences. Well, anyways, Daiki-sama's magic power is not something you can suppress even if you try. I could tell simply from the amount of power. I put the coating on though. It doesn't really feel like anything, but I do have it on. Yes, you do have it on. It's just that when you approach, the power of an average Dragon King is leaking out. I see. I'd gotten Hesty's stamp of approval, but it looks like I've still got some ways to go. Anyways, let's talk as we walk into town. There's still some distance to the town and our store. Sorry. That's right. And so we began to walk and talk. My house is a magic power spot. Just by living there I become the strongest in the world. Chapter 94. By the way, who is the one who turned into a dragon? They have quite a lot of magic. Oh, that's right. And doesn't know about Ramiro's, I thought as Hesty responded in my stead. This is the Sky Dragon King, Ramiro's. Oh, is it really? Nice to meet you. I am the Earth Dragon King and my name is Anne. Anne bowed politely. But Ramiro's smiled bitterly. Nice to meet you. Huh? Don't you remember I took care of you along with Hesty when you were young? Really? It seems like a lot happened to this trio in the past. It looks like these two have experience raising kids, huh? Setting aside Ramiro's, Hesty seems like the caring type. Fumu. I'd like to hear more about that Anne said while looking ashamed. That's right. I need to report to Diania about any new Dragon Kings arriving in the area. Oh, so that's your duty? Sounds like a job and a half. No. Diania has helped me with various things. Well then Daiki-sama, would you mind if I borrowed Ramiro's sama for a while? I'd like to take her to report if that'd be alright. I don't know why she's asking me. But I don't really mind. I looked at Ramiro's and she looked a bit troubled. What's wrong Ramiro's? Well if I went ahead, then I wouldn't be able to carry the luggage. I was wondering if it'd cause you trouble Daiki-san. Oh, so that's what it was. I can have the Gillums carry it so don't worry. She'd helped us get here easily so I can just make some Gillums to finish off the trip. I should make their bodies. They'd be the normal large-sized Gillums, so I think they should be able to carry the 20 boxes pretty easily. As always, you're quick to come up with a new plan. This isn't even your magic power spot. Well, I'm used to it. Okay, I'll do some simple molding, and everything should be fine. I mounted the golem's shoulder. Now all that'd be left would be to carry the boxes. We'll be alright here, so don't worry and go ahead. Oh, okay. Then excuse us for going ahead. We will see you in a while, and said and took off with Ramiro's towards the castle. Well then, let's get going to the store. We set off in their footsteps as we continued on to the city. We continued into town with the golems carrying our luggage. My store was right near the castle, so I wanted to look at the town as we traveled there. That was how it should have been, but somehow the streets look pretty empty. Is it my imagination? There were plenty of people when we entered town, but it seemed like the area in front of my golems was pretty barren. Actually, it seemed like my golems were the center of attention. I didn't think that wooden golems would be that rare of eyesight. I wonder what's going on. I'll tell you, golems this large are usually impossible. Really? War golems are a little smaller than these. Normally, they can't move well if they're this big. I've never seen war golems, so I can't compare. But I understand. I finally get it. Wow, amazing. Are they from the circus? Amazing. I wonder how many people are inside of them. I heard cheers from around me. I looked at the ends of the street and saw people looking at the golems with eyes that glittered like those of children. Well, it's rare that they have things that are so interesting come to town. Oh, I kinda understand how they feel. Also, well, your body lets off so much magic power that the people who can feel it avoid you. Hesty pointed, and I saw some people dressed in swords and armor. They were adventurers that seemed disciplined. They moved smoothly and naturally. They seemed to be knights from another city. They walked down the road, and when they saw me, they tried to keep as much distance as they could. The people who avoid you are strong, and the ones who don't are normal people, confident people, or idiots. But still, this town has quite a lot of strong people. They are properly keeping their distance. Well, there's a lot I'd like to say, but this does make it easier to get to the shop, so I'll leave it as it is for now. And so we continued to travel towards the store on the golems. After I talk to the princess, I'll return there. I need to set it. Since it's that princess, she'll go around wherever she wants during the festival. She could be left to her own devices. With that in mind, Diania set her teleportation to Daiki's shop, and as she finished that, "Princess, I have brought the first princess," the knight captain said as he opened the door. Then, "Onsama, good evening, Tilda." The princess brushed past the knight captain and jumped into the office. Her pretty dress swayed as she latched onto Diania. "Yes, good evening, Athena. However, you should keep your manners in mind when entering a room. Manners are important for a princess." "Ah, okay. I'll remember next time." Athena nodded obediently. "Then okay. Have you been well?" "Yep, I've been really well. I sped up my schedule so I could come to the festival and see the strong people." Athena said as she puffed up her chest with pride. As Diania patted her head, "That's improper, Princess Athena." Another woman stepped into the room. She was a slim and proper woman. You are? "Ah, please excuse me, Princess Diania." She's using Ujo for Athena and Haim for Diania. It's hard to get this nuance. "I am called Karen." Princess Athena was the one who found me, she said and bowed politely. Diania could feel strong power from her body, so this woman was the private army Athena had talked about. Diania thought she was indeed strong. "Yes, best regards, Karen," Diania lightly responded. "You know, Onsama, Karen is amazing. She's my combat teacher too." "Oh, is that so?" No. I'm just teaching her the basics of the basics." "Foo-foo," Karen lightly laughed. You could feel her composure from that simple laugh. The princess's guard. She must be quite strong, or she would have never been acknowledged by the king. She must be a strong warrior. I wonder where she picked her up from." Diania was about to ask Karen when someone spoke up. "I'm sorry to interrupt you while you're talking, Diania-sama, Do you have a moment? There is a new Dragon King that's come," and said as she walked into the room with a full-figured woman. Dragon King? At that instant, Karen's atmosphere completely changed. Magic power exploded out from her body, causing the very air around her to shake. It was enough to cause fear for your life. You are the Sky Dragon King Ramiros and Earth Dragon King Anne, huh? With one glance Karen had seen through them, but that didn't cause Anne or Ramiros any surprise. "And you are the Dragon King of Power, Karen?" "Yes indeed. Are you coming or leaving?" And so Anne and Ramiros released their magic power as well. The enormous magic power clashed and caused the atmosphere within the room to warp. The Knight Captain had backed away from the main source of the power, unable to approach, and the soldiers outside the room were already unable to move. But Diania was different. This isn't good. Athena. At least Athena, among the people who had been rendered immobile, Diania alone stepped forward, feeling such a crisis. She took action to ensure Athena's safety. Sama. Teleport anywhere would be fine. For now she needed to get her away from here. With that thought, she teleported without thinking of the consequences. With this, at least Athena would be safe. Even if this room was destroyed instantly, she would be safe, Diania thought as she once again looked at the situation in the room. Ramiros, Anne, and Karen all approached each other and slap, with a loud sound, clasped their hands in a handshake. "It's been a while, Ramiros. You doing alright?" "Yep, I've been well," Karen tilde. From there they began shaking their clasped hands. From their appearance, they seemed to get along well. "And you too, Anne. I'm happy to see you doing so well." "Yes, thank you very much, Karen Sama." What's going on? Diania was unable to understand what had just occurred. The situation had been touch and go just a few seconds ago. What had happened? She looked on in mute amazement as Anne bowed her head apologetically. "I'm sorry." Karen Sama insists that when we of the same race greet each other, it be through clashing our magic power. She's a bit of a muscle head. I see. Diania realized she'd misunderstood what was going on. She was so embarrassed. Her cheeks turned red. "I'm really sorry. I was about to tell you. But you moved very well." Moved well? Well, when Karen Sama emits her magic, most people end up like that, and said and indicated the soldiers outside the room who couldn't stand. Well, I suppose, compared to Daiki Dano, this much is fine. She'd seen more powerful magic many times, and had experienced it well. Thanks to that, she'd developed some resistance. She would no longer leak with only a Dragon King's power. She couldn't be any more thankful to Daiki. "Hey, Karen Sama, apologize as well. The room is all cracked." I'm sorry, I caused such a misunderstanding. I'll reimburse you, so please forgive me." Karen politely bowed her head. Now she seemed like a well-mannered Dragon King. Well, it's alright even without the reimbursement. I am thankful. By the way, where is Princess Athena? I took my eyes off of her during the greeting, and somehow, she disappeared. Diania just remembered. She had teleported Athena. Then she remembered where she'd set the teleportation. I sent her to Daiki Dano's place. Without permission. The thought sent shivers down her spine and caused her to break out in a cold sweat. I may have really done it this time. My house is a magic power spot. Just by living there I become the strongest in the world. Chapter 95. After I'd made the giant tree above the shop smaller so that it wouldn't be a hindrance, I started cleaning up the shop. Since I'd forcefully cultivated that giant apple tree, the store was a bit warped. After fixing that, the interior was a bit ruined, so I had a bit to fix. At this rate it looks like we'll only be able to open up tomorrow. I suppose so, but I had been wanting to give this place a good cleaning, so this is the perfect opportunity, Sakura said with a smile as she continued to pile up the boxes of apples. Upsy daisy. Well, for now I'll leave them like this. Okay, thank you. After carrying a few more boxes in from the outside, all I'd have to do was get the mini golems to begin the operation and we'd be set. As I was thinking that things were going to plan, Sakura suddenly looked at an empty space. There's a magic response. Something is arriving in the middle of the room, master. What is it? The type of magical reaction indicates that it is from teleportation magic. Huh, so you can tell that kind of stuff. If it's teleporting, then maybe it's Diania? I wonder. I don't know for sure. She had told us that she'd guide us around town tonight. I wonder if she came for that, I thought, and looked at the center of the room. Then, this is against my expectations. What appeared was a small girl in a pretty dress. Athena remembered her elder sister teleporting her, for her to be able to move to save her amidst the powerful magical maelstrom. She felt her sister was amazing. As she thought that, she looked around at where she'd been teleported to. It was a spacious wooden room. There were two people looking at her. Maybe she'd accidentally entered some unknown person's home, she thought, and was about to open her mouth when she could barely move her lips. That wasn't all, her body wouldn't stop shaking. After realizing the condition of her body, she suddenly had a flash of understanding. What is with this person's magic power? The magic that was overflowing from the woman's body as he looked at her, completely overwhelmed and crushed her own. Furthermore, the man next to her was even more powerful. A monstrously powerful magic gushed from his body, causing her body to freeze. I'm going to die. That thought exploded through Athena's mind as she frantically began casting. It was an emergency escape magic that her elder sister had taught her long ago. Emergency telepo. But her teeth wouldn't stop chattering and her tongue was twisted. She couldn't speak out and use the magic. At that moment, "Oi, what's wrong?" Hi. She was scared out of her immobility when he called out. At any rate, she couldn't stay here a second longer. She needed to leave. Now, she looked around and spotted the door to the room behind her and began to move towards it. At that moment, the door opened. I've brought more boxes. I'll leave them, Who's this girl? A white-haired girl bumped into Athena as she was carrying a box inside, but the feeling didn't stop at a simple bump. Athena could feel explosively powerful magic inside of the other girl. Athena leapt backward and almost fell. But, you're staggering around. Are you alright? The man with the monstrous magic power gently reached out and supported her with his hand. This was Athena's limit. She collapsed to the ground on her butt. Crying sound. And just like that, she spectacularly wet herself. My house is a magic power spot. Just by living there I become the strongest in the world. Chapter 96. Thank you for the change of underwear. It's good that Hestes fit you. If you want to thank someone, thank her. Don't worry, I know, you had coating, but I forgot to tell you, not to touch people, Hestes said as she carried boxes of apples inside. And I'm sorry for dirtying the store. Daiki Unyai-san. Seems like I've naturally become an Unyai-san. It's a bit embarrassing, but age-wise it fits so it can't be helped. Well, setting that aside, it's alright. I just had to manipulate the floorboards a bit to clean it. Athena, right? You came here from Diania's place, right? Why, yes, that's right. I already had a tentative grip on the situation. Apparently there was some sort of a fight at the castle and she was sent here. In that case, they'll be here soon enough. I'm next to the castle after all. I'm not especially busy, so I suppose I can look after her for a little while. I can't go kicking people out into the cold of the night now, can I? Though I do have a problem with people randomly teleporting into my place. Furthermore, it was sudden for Athena as well. She's still jumpy. Hey Athena. Hi Ayaz. What is it? This happens whenever I call out to her. She freezes up. You don't have to be so wound up, okay? Why yes, okay. This isn't working. She's completely wooden. If she continues with this level of mental stress, there's a definite possibility for another leak. Her replacement underwear would become useless and the floor would be dirty again. It'd be good if there was something that could reduce her nervousness. As I thought on that problem. Gulp. I heard a gulping sound from Athena. I was wondering what was up when I saw she was looking at the golem making juice behind the counter. Athena. Are you thirsty? I am. A little bit. That was reasonable given both how much she leaked and how much nervous sweat she had produced. She was probably suffering from a lack of fluids. Golem. It was a small-sized golem I'd made using the materials I'd brought. Then, bring the test product, I said, and the golem moved briskly behind the counter. You can use such a complex golem without using a wand or staff? I only use them because it's convenient. It's not like it has any particular will, consciousness, or instructions. It can move that well without any will or consciousness. That's amazing. As she watched the golem, Athena became slightly less nervous. I noticed it when I got into town. But golems might be popular with kids. I should ask Diania, I thought as the mini golem came back. It was carrying 2 steaming cups on a tray. I picked them up and handed one to Athena. Here, drink it. It should give you a bit more pep. It's warm Disu. But what is it? Hot apple cider juice. The golems with magic stones in them could heat those stones as they squeezed the juice, creating this drink. Then you need to dilute it with water so people can drink it. That's the trial product. Yep, the apples have been watered down quite a bit, but it should taste fine. From a single sip it tasted just like normal apple juice. It'd be good if we lightly seasoned it as well. I think we could sell this. As she watched me drink it normally, Athena tentatively tasted the juice. Then, delicious. Then she lightly breathed in and out through her mouth. It seems like she needed to cool off a bit. Well, Diania will be here soon, so just relax here. When they get here I'll take you out to meet them. Oh okay, thank you. And so I continued readying the shop as I looked after Diania's acquaintance. A short while after Princess Athena had been teleported, Diania finished explaining the teleportation to Karen. She was trying to calm Karen, who was frowning, by telling her that she'd sent Athena to an acquaintance's house, so it's alright. But, Fumu, then this teleportation hasn't put Princess Athena in danger? Why yeah, I trust Daikidano. Furthermore, he's the strongest person I've ever met. Plus, this town is friendly with him, so I don't think anything bad will happen. He may be a bit angry because of the sudden teleportation. That's why Diania was preparing an apology for Daiki and preparing the knights to help him to appease any anger he might have. Just in case. Plus she had asked Anne and Ranmiros to go ahead to help mediate. After that, there wouldn't be time for them to report back, so she wouldn't know the situation. If he was truly angry, then she was prepared to apologize with a doujsa. After all, the fault lay completely with their side this time. She'd feel grateful if only an apology was needed, but she kept the doujsa in mind just in case as she prepared. At that moment, Mew. Karen's head snapped to the side and looked out the empty window. What is it, Karen Dano? Just now I felt a colossal magic power. I felt it from a building in town. What was that? It's an impossible amount of magic power? Oh. I see. Karen's body was shaking. For a Dragon King to have such a reaction, there was only one person qualified for such a reaction. Actually, it was the person they were about to go meet. Karen Dano, the owner of that magic power, is my acquaintance. Actually, he's my benefactor. Please don't worry about it. Even if you say so. Karen's eyes suddenly changed in the middle of that sentence. They suddenly became cold and sharp. The magic power flowing from her body suddenly changed. Karen Dano? Just now the magic defenses on Princess Athena's dress have been released. Were they forcefully erased? They shouldn't deactivate unless she takes her clothes off, Karen said with a serious look on her face as she nervously observed the town. Does Prussia have any highway robbery? Almost none. This city prides itself on good public order. Even though that may be so, the dress's magical defenses were cancelled. Did something happen to her body? Karen nodded and looked even more seriously out at the town. Then after a few seconds she focused on a singular location, the lower part of the window. Where Daiki's shop was, so the location of the princess's reaction and the colossal magic power are there, huh? For it to be so close. Just wait for me, Princess Athena. Karen yelled out in agitation and jumped onto the windowsill. Karen Dano? Diania said as she approached to pull her back. I'm sorry, Princess Diania. I'll be going first. If I'm destroyed by the huge magic power, I'll leave the aftermath to you. Wait please. Karen Dono. Without even hesitating, Karen cried out as she leapt from the window. Then with incredible speed she crashed to the ground and charged towards Dayaki's store. This is really bad. A chill went down Diania's back. There was no time to prepare. Diania immediately chased after her towards Dayaki's shop. My house is a magic power spot. Just by living there I become the strongest in the world. Chapter 97. Leaving that sentence behind, Diania teleported from the castle to the area near Dayaki's store, but she didn't see Karen there. However, she did feel a lot of magic power coming from inside the shop. Dayaki's store was surrounded by a giant tree filled with magic power, so it had quite a bit of soundproofing and defensive power. So, when you looked from the outside you wouldn't be able to hear there was anything wrong except for a small commotion. This is bad. She could feel both Dayaki and Karen's presence inside of the store. The worst case scenario would be a clash between Karen and Dayaki. She could already predict who'd win, but she hoped Karen wouldn't challenge him. However, she knew that Karen was attached to Athena, so if Athena acknowledged Dayaki as an enemy, a fight might break out. Even if a fight didn't break out, her greeting was to hit each other with magic power. To Dayaki that might appear to be a hostile act. This situation was really bad. The town might be destroyed. Dayaki was considerate of people who were amiable. But he was merciless to his enemies. She knew that best of all. How could she stop them? Would she be able to mediate? If she were to get between a Dragon King and Dayaki while they were fighting, all that'd be left for her was to wait for death. Though she had met and interacted with many Dragon Kings by now, those women were originally incomparably stronger than humans. Even though Diania was training herself so she wouldn't lose out to them, right now she was still too weak. Still. I can't just stand by the sidelines and watch as a full-on war starts. And above all, while a Dragon King's anger was scary, she was much more frightened of Dayaki's anger. She wanted to run away right now, but she was reaping what she'd sown. She couldn't just abandon everything like this. Let's go. She forced her shaking legs forward as she put her hand on the door to the store. Sorry Dayaki Dono, I'm coming in. Then she looked in and saw, thank you very much for taking care of our princess. Furthermore, I'd like to thank you for the wonderful refreshments. Don't mind it, I couldn't just leave her like that. No, even so, thank you very much. I'm thankful for happening across such a strong person like yourself. Karen was politely conversing and bowing to Dayaki. Dayaki Ani-Aizen, this juice is good. Can I have another? Drink as much as you let out. You're teasing me, Dayaki Ani-Aizen. Haha, sorry. Furthermore, Dayaki and Athena were strangely friendly and intimate. Diania looked on in blank astonishment. Oh, you're finally here, Diania? A few minutes after Athena was teleported here, Diania finally arrived. What happened? What happened? You sent Athena here and her guardian came. So I'm handing her over. That's all. The woman named Karen had politely knocked on the door and called out. I was surprised that a person I didn't know was knocking on my front door. However, she was very polite and didn't seem like a bad sort. She was Athena's friend and protector, plus Hesty knew her, so I invited her inside. Really, thank you very much. If Dayaki wasn't here I would have despaired. I just went with the flow when I decided to care for Athena. I've been thanked so much that I feel a bit embarrassed. Well, anyways, I'm glad I could hand the girl over to her guardian. I heard that the teleportation was an emergency. I suppose it couldn't be helped, but try not to be so rash next time, okay? I had heard from them that Diania had teleported Athena when she thought a fight was breaking out. I understand it couldn't be helped because it was an emergency, but I'd like to be told beforehand if you set my store as a teleportation point. So I lightly admonished the woman who stood frozen at the front door. But Oi, are you listening? Her face looked as if she had lost her spirit and she collapsed onto the floor. Then, thank goodness, she said as tears started to fall from her eyes. Oi, what's wrong? And nothing. I just fired myself up for no reason, she said and wiped her eyes and stood up, but she was abnormally pigeon-toed. Oi, did you? This time it's alright. A bit came out, but my underwear stopped it. I didn't dirty the floor. That's not the issue here. Why does this witch princess relax everything including her bladder? I really didn't expect my store to be watered twice on the first day, though the second time was only an attempt. Well, I guess it can't be helped. Go get changed. Oh okay, thank you for your concern Daiki Dono. I will apologize and guide you around town, so could you give me some of your time tonight? Okay fine, but you're wasting time, so go change and come back, thank you. And Diania teleported back. But still, we've got a lot of guests tonight. I'd made the living space quite large, but it was almost full. Hesty, her acquaintance Karen, her charge Athena, Diania, then us. It looks as though the festival tonight will be lively. My house is a magic power spot. Just by living there I become the strongest in the world. Chapter 98. Well then, once again let's introduce ourselves. I am one of the Dragon Kings, Karen. I have come here as Princess Athena's protector. I am Athena. I am a princess who lives in the capital with father. I mean the king. A princess and her private forces, huh? First time I'm hearing it. Why are people of such social status gathering in my store? My store had been empty till now, but all of a sudden it's gotten full. Though it is busy right now, there aren't any customers here for the grand opening. I'm really sorry. I'll be more careful with my teleportation. Yeah. Please do, as long as you understand then it's alright. But I'm just wondering how long these princesses are planning on staying in my store. It's already pretty late. Is it alright if you don't go back? I asked, and Athena looked a bit troubled as she looked at me. Daiki Ani Aizen, I have something to ask. Would you listen? I don't mind listening. What is it? It's about what our objective was in coming to this town. Karen, can I tell him? I think it should be fine. There would be no way for our movements to go unnoticed by such a strong man. Plus, Hesty is one of the most experienced Dragon Kings. After obtaining Karen's support, Athena began to speak. The elemental spirit is vague as to whether there is one or many, so keep that in mind. Actually the four elemental spirits, earth, water, fire, wind, ran away from the royal capital's treasury. What? The four elemental spirits should be the country's defensive trump card. They ran away? For some reason they drilled a hole through the treasury and ran. So we came here to capture the runaway spirit. This is the order of the country and my father, Athena said and gazed out the window. The spirit has a nature that seeks the most magically rich area. So we came to Prussia with the most magically inclined people. Plus the festival was happening, which improved the chances further. I see, so things are stacked in your favor? I would have been happy if you'd told me so in the first place, Diania said while frowning, and Athena bowed her head. I'm sorry Ansama, we were in such a rush that we only sent news that we were coming and I was going to tell you in person. I see, I teleported you before you were able to tell me, so now I'm getting this information. And Daiki Ani Aizen is here as well. I'm glad I could tell him. Why does this matter to me? According to this conversation, this really doesn't have anything to do with me. Well, it's because Daiki Ani Aizen has such huge magic power. The spirits should be drawn to you. Oh. I see. But would drawing them to me cause anything bad? I asked, and Athena shook her head. With Daiki Ani Aizen's power, there should be no harm. However, there will be trouble if we try to catch it during the height of the festival. I am apologizing in advance if we interrupt your fun. That's why I thought of telling you now. Fumu, so she might end up putting a damper on the festivities. Well, I can tolerate that much. If it doesn't cause me any real harm, then I don't really mind. I'll just enjoy myself moderately. It'd be good if no one interferes with everyone's fun. It's good that I can prepare myself for any trouble this time, thank goodness. Then we can collect the spirit without worrying, right Karen? Yes, we will begin tonight. It's almost time, so shall we depart? Thank you for tonight Daiki Ani Aizen. I'm glad I could meet an Ani-san-like person on my first night here, Athena said as she smiled. I don't really remember doing much of anything, but it's good as long as she's happy. You really saved me. I will show my gratitude on another day. Okay,
See ya, thanks Daiki Eisen. I'll see you tomorrow Tilda, they said as they left for the castle. Only Diania was left in my store. So. Why are you the only one left? I asked and she answered while blushing. Well, I was going to guide you around. I showed you a disgraceful sight, and I was hoping to make up for this mistake tonight by guiding you around. You have a lot to do as princess, right? You don't really have to guide me, you know. Things like gathering spirits sound like it's gonna be an ordeal. I was wondering if she didn't need to help out. Yeah, there may come a time when they ask for my assistance, but as of now, they have not. Furthermore, it may be selfish, but I want to prioritize going around the festival with you over my duties as a princess, she said with red cheeks and a voice that seemed like it would disappear at any moment. Well, if she wanted to, then I had no reason to stop her. Alright, I'll leave the guidance to you. Oh, really? Why are you surprised? She was the one who asked to do it. Well, I thought you might refuse. I showed you such a disgraceful sight after all. This and that are different things. Well, I'm thankful for someone generous like Diania guiding us. Someone who knows the town. I see, thank goodness. Then leave everything to me. I know every place from the famous to the hidden. Okay. We'll be in your care, Diania. And so we decided to head out into the night. My house is a magic power spot. Just by living there I become the strongest in the world. Chapter 99. Diania guided our group to the shopping district's main street. Sakura and Hesty glanced at the storefronts and seemed to be having a good time. I was really enjoying myself watching them, but there are really a lot of people, even though it was late at night. There were a lot of people here. After all, it was a festival. Although it wasn't to the degree that you couldn't walk without bumping into someone, it was cramped. However, for some reason there was an air pocket around our group, so we didn't feel the press of the crowd. However, that didn't change the fact that there were a lot of people. Even though it's like this, there are still much fewer people than during the day. It was much more crowded. I see. Okay, then let's stay inside during the day. You made your decision fast, Daiki Dono. Well, I guess. Leaving this main street aside, the area around the castle won't be crowded, so you can loiter around there, I think. I don't like loitering around in crowds, so I'm grateful for that at least. I'm grateful for the care she's showing. Hi, isn't that boss? I heard a voice call out from behind me. I turned to look and saw a head reflecting the light of a street lamp. Ash, It's been a while. Asu, it's been a while, boss. The shining heads were assembled behind Ash. There were about the same number of them as the time they came to raid my house. They greeted me one after another and bowed their heads. What are you doing here? We're patrolling the festival. We were hired by the princess over there. With this kind of festival there are a lot of altercations. The knights alone would not be able to handle it. We made up the numbers by using accomplished adventurers. Those shining heads seem to be a part of that. Well, with this many people there are bound to be a few disagreements. This should be expected when you gather so many people together, as I thought that. Hey, you just stepped on my foot, didn't you? Don't go spouting bull. On a connected street it sounded like two men were in a scuffle. They were both muscular, with one holding a sword and the other a staff. Just by looking at them you could tell they were adventurers. Speak of the devil and he appears. There were people causing trouble right here, and when I looked over at them, you guys are making trouble? Ash called out and slowly approached them. His voice was calm but his eyes were sharp. Who are why? You're the Shining Head's leader. I'm Ash, the leader of Shining Head. I'm patrolling around here. But you guys wouldn't possibly be causing a problem, right? Ash asked calmly, and the two men vigorously nodded and threw their arms around the other's shoulders. No, we aren't causing any problems. I see. Then that's good. Enjoy the festival, okay? And so the two that had been fighting disappeared into the crowd while still holding each other's shoulders. After seeing that, the people in the surrounding all erupted into whispered conversations. Amazing. That's what you'd expect from such a monstrous party with over 90% completion rate. Just by looking and talking they're that overwhelming. Yeah, I heard they changed their base of operations to Prussia. But it was actually true.
Wow. These shining head guys actually seem quite famous. I don't come to town often, so this is the first time that I've seen their fame. Ash. You guys are really popular, huh? Hi. We're just so. We're not even close to you, boss. I'm not famous or popular though, I just stayed in the forest and lived peacefully. Hi. Tilde. Boss is the hero that protected the town from dragons. If they knew what you looked like, then I think they'd swamp you. I think we should split up pretty soon, you know. Right now me and the princess are with you, so you're standing out quite a bit. Oh, I see. Diania is a princess after all. If you saw the princess walking around, of course it'd stand out. Yep, if there was a single person who knew what you looked like, it'd spread like the plague. With the Hesty and Ramiro's matters, there were quite a few people who knew my face. That being the case, just standing around here wouldn't be good for me. Okay then, let's go to the next place. Diania, I'll leave it to you. Oh okay, Roger. Well then, we're off. Do your best, Tilda. Hi. Let's get a drink together soon. And so we began to walk to the next location. A few seconds after Daiki left, Ash's body was covered in sweat. A cold sweat ran down his face as he breathed roughly. Hi. Huo. L leader, are you okay? Well. When you stand near that man, you can really feel the difference in power. Ash looked at the place where Daiki had walked away. His path was completely empty of people, and it stayed that way for a while. Really amazing. When I send out my own magic power, he didn't even react. In fact, his overwhelmed my own completely. When he had gone to stop the fight, he emitted his magic power. His opponents were only amateur adventurers, but an even more powerful magic was suddenly focused on them. It suddenly and completely engulfed them. It was so ludicrously powerful that it wasn't even funny. But that's why we admire him. Ash laughed. Then he called out to the Shining Heads members. Hi. Fire yourselves up, boys. We're gonna keep going. Ooh. My house is a magic power spot. Just by living there I become the strongest in the world. Chapter 100. We walked through the town with Diania. This was the first time I'd had the opportunity to take it easy and stroll through the town. This made it fun just to go around sightseeing, as my gaze flitted here and there. Diania's face was red and she seemed giddy with her eyes wandering. What's up, Diania? Are you tired again? No. I may be a bit tired, but it's no that. This is my first experience walking around the town with people like this. A man. It makes me feel a bit giddy. Well, it is a festival after all. Since you're walking among such a lively crowd, I can understand that you might be cheerful. Well, I'd appreciate it if you don't overdo things and collapse again. She had collapsed from overwork only a few days ago after all. You really helped me out. It's thanks to you that I can face each day like this. Really. There's so much to thank you for. Diania spaced out while staring at my face. Thank you. I know I've said it before, and I may end up saying it much more from now on. But I want to give you my thanks once more. There's no need to give me your thanks again. I've only done what I needed and what I wanted to do, to live a peaceful life. Hearing you say that puts me at ease. And hearing that doing what you wanted ended with you being here with me. Makes me kind of happy, she said while blushing and scratching at her cheek as she quickly averted her eyes. She's such a busy girl looking here and there. Well, I can't say I'm not doing the same. I'm looking around at all the people and things there are to see. As I thought that, Diania seemed to panic a bit as she continued speaking. Daiki Dono. Sorry to change the subject, but where did Andano and Ramiro's Dono go? Where? And didn't come back after she headed to your place, you know? Huh? We hadn't seen her again after we split up. Diania tilted her head in confusion. You haven't seen her? No. I already received her report. Then she said that she'd go ahead to your place, Daiki Dono. I wonder where she went. Fumu. We may have missed each other then. Well, we'll meet her eventually. It's a big town, but it's not like I go anywhere. I don't think she's lost or drunk either. I guess. Well, just in case, I'll make a small golem in place of a landmark. It seems to be a rare thing, so it should stand out. I took an apple seed out of my pocket, put it in the ground, and grew it. Then I shaped it into a person shape. Unexpectedly it felt pretty good growing it here. Does this town's soil have a lot of magic power? Haha, it can't be compared to your home. However, since you're quite close to town, the magic power in the soil has improved. I'm quite grateful. I'm just living normally. However, thanks to that it was easy to make the golem. So that's good. As I thought that, I mixed the wood with a magic stone. Then a 1-meter-tall wooden doll smoothly stood and began to walk. Your speed has increased, and I can feel the overflowing magic power from this golem. It has incredible abilities. Well, it's only a landmark. With a golem walking amongst the people, it'd be easier to spot. Furthermore, though it may be small, it is a golem. It can also do manual labor. For now, let's just have it walk next to me like usual. Diania, if you get tired from walking you can ride this. Eh? Well, didn't you just say you were tired? Just tell me when you can't hold on any longer, okay? Oh, okay. Thank you Daiki Dono. But I'm still alright. I still want to walk with you some more, Diania said and lowered her head. Well, if she says she's alright I'll leave her be. I'll tell Sakura and Hesty too. Sakura, Hesty, if you get tired or if you have too much luggage you can get on this guy or put things on him. Okay, thank you very much Master. Understood. And so I walked around the town with the three of them and my golem. Anne and Ramiro's were some distance from the main street and were standing in front of a large bonfire. The flames were ignited on the crossed wood that was piled up to nearly 1 meter. I can't believe that after we got lost, we ended up being asked to keep the night's watch. Well, I'm just glad I can be useful to the people here. After they left the castle they wanted to head towards Daiki's store. But before they realized it, they'd ended up here. They were then asked to look after the fire by the townspeople and now they were standing here. Still. This bonfire is pretty big for being made by humans. Well, today seems to be the day of flames after all. The days of this holiday are divided into the days of earth, flame, water, and wind. The flames are to indicate which of them this is apparently. Tomorrow they'd have a water pillar and the next they'd have a flag that produces wind. The day of earth had been halted by Ramiro's fall. She had heard from Diania that the day of wind was the last one of the festival. With all the things that happened, it was miraculous that the only consequence was the festival becoming shorter. It was abnormal. But what was even more abnormal was that this miraculous occurrence was caused by a single man, as expected of Anne. You know a lot about people. No, my knowledge can't compare to that of Inu-sama, Anne said as she imagined where Hesty was now. Oh, I bet Karen-sama has already reached Daiki-sama's place by now. I suppose they've already finished talking. It could be. I wonder if Karen and Daiki-san are alright. Well, if it's Karen-sama and Daiki-sama then they should be able to converse somehow, if not. This place would have already turned into a war zone. I suppose you're right. Anne gazed out at the lively festival. Just by seeing this it was clear that the two of them hadn't fought. That much she knew. If she had flourished her power, then things wouldn't have ended with just an apology. If Daiki-sama had wielded his power then this town would have already been crushed flat. So, it seems that things went well. Ah, I guess so. Daiki-san's powerful could easily blow me away. So even if I was there I don't think I could do anything. I think so too. I don't think I'd be able to stop Daiki-sama either. They'd reached some common ground and Ramiro's nodded vigorously. His power was absurd. His power felt similar to Hesty's but comparing the feeling they got. She felt an instinctive shiver run down their spines when faced with Daiki-sama's impossible power. For that reason was glad that Karen hadn't gotten the brunt of it. However, she had wanted to see the meeting between Daiki and one of the most excellent Dragon Kings, Karen. But, I'm sorry Ramiro-sama for forcing you along with me and my poor sense of directions. No, don't mind it. I don't know this town well, so we're the same in that regard. But still. Since we were asked by the princess should we still go and see Daiki-san once we're done here? Anne nodded slowly in response. That's right. And Osama might even yell at me, you're late. That'd be pretty good. I don't really know about that. Huh? As they were talking, Ramiro had been looking around when her gaze was drawn. What happened, Ramiro-sama? Isn't the fire strangely more powerful? Huh, you're right. The peaceful orange flames had become red in color. Not only that, the shape of the fire was gradually changing. It was slowly forming into the shape of a man standing on the top of the pillar, and saw that and felt a strange magic power. She placed her hand across Ramiro's chest and stepped back. Please step back, Ramiro-sama. It doesn't seem to be a simple flame anymore. So it seems. It feels like the temperature just shot up. The moment that Ramiro spoke up so carefreely. Boom. The flames spread. Then the human-shaped flame leapt with incredible speed towards Anne and Ramiro's. Whoa, watch out. The human-shaped flame suddenly went flying away from Anne as Ramiro's lightly flicked it away with the back of her hand. The flame that had been repelled once again stood up and turned its head towards them. What's up with this flame? I don't know, but it's full of vim and vigor. Ramiro's waved her hand while speaking. On the back of her hand was a small amount of blood. Ramiro-sama. That wound done. I got burned a bit, but I'm okay. It'll heal quickly. I'm still convalescing, so it seems like my human form is soft as well. Flames strong enough to burn a Dragon King, a monster. Possibly a spurt. Either way. It's strong. She wanted to taste that burning sensation a bit. But she'd hold it in. She'd been entrusted to be a fire watchman, so she should put out the flames here and set things to rights, she thought as she observed the flame person. It bent its legs and prepared to leap again. It's coming again, she thought when. Oh, speak of the devil. Oi, Anne. Ramiro's tilde. From behind her she heard a voice call out. Daiki had appeared, and it wasn't just him. Daiki-sama, and Inu-sama, and you guys, they were all there. At the moment she was distracted and... The human flame seemed to realize something and faced Daiki and them. It exploded into motion. Daiki-sama, that thing is. Anne immediately turned to Daiki and cried out. As she was calling out, the flame continued forward. It moved with incredible speed straight towards them. Then the golem that had been carrying the luggage stepped on it. I guess. Yeah, I shouldn't have expected anything else. Yep, her warning cry was pretty much meaningless. What? Something came flying out from the fire, I thought. Something's acting violently. Well, how should I put it? Daiki-san is amazing. Really? I don't get what you're talking about. But tell me what happened. Okay, please wait a moment. And so Anne told Daiki what had occurred.